Hey, this is Warren Redlick. Thank you so much for watching. If you're ready to talk about Tesla and everything and SpaceX and more, we're going to talk about it now. Before we get started, I want to thank the Vasa law firm in Sweden and all my Patreon supporters for helping this channel grow. There is a Patreon link in the description below. And the t-shirts. I'm wearing the Elon Fan Club t-shirt, elonbits.com. There's a link to that in the description below as well. I hope everyone can hear me. So let's go. Okay, seriously. Let's start with news. I want to go with a little bit of SpaceX news first. If you were paying attention, there was a Starship attempt at launch and landing, and it actually landed. Sort of. It didn't land well. It landed leaning. And Elon was on Twitter explaining that it did not have sufficient, what did he say? Thrust was low despite being commanded high. They don't know why thrust was low. It landed too hard and the legs got squashed. They are planning to use more stronger leg structure in the future, but Elon said that wouldn't have mattered. This landing was too hard for any legs. And it did, though, if you watched it closely, it did have the first rapid relaunch of a Starship. It landed, it sat there for a couple of minutes, and then it got up in the air again when it blew up. So that was a little bit of fun. In Tesla news, we're just going to a little bit of news, and then we're going to go right into the main topic. The main topic is about whether Tesla will stop selling cars. But before we get there, I wanted to mention that Elon said he had a little bit of an update on Cybertruck, that he expects there to be some kind of update in Cybertruck in the second quarter, and that Cybertruck will be built at Giga Texas, and they're working on getting Giga Texas built so they can get the Cybertruck built. Okay. And there were a couple of FSD bits that are really important for leading into what we're going to talk about today. So first off, Elon has indicated that the FSD Beta, currently people who are driving with the latest full self-driving software, it's a limited group of about 1,000 people. That's going to expand to maybe 2,000 people soon. And then it's going to go 10x to maybe 10,000 people or 20,000 people in the next iteration. So we're looking at very soon, there's going to be twice as many people on the road with the latest full self-driving, and then soon a lot more, and it's getting a lot closer. And Elon said it's getting a lot better. That's the next tweet. He said, let's see, that Beta 8.3, which is not the immediate one, it's the one that's going to expand to 10,000. Beta 8.3 has literally 1,000 improvements. It's going to take some time to review it, but that's coming in a few weeks, and that's going to be a much, much better version of FSD, and we're getting closer to Robotaxi, which is what I want to talk about today. So I didn't notice any other particular news worth talking about. Nothing special happened with Boring Company. Nothing special happened with Neuralink. I think there's a little bit of news I'll mention about Tesla, which is Model S and X, the refresh, were probably supposed to have shipped by the end of February, and they apparently haven't shipped yet, so there may be some issue with Model S and X. There's some concerns there may be some kind of shortages with Tesla's vehicles, maybe related to chips or something like that. But overall, things seem good. Last thing we saw was that battery cell production is moving ahead of schedule, so that's good news. But let's talk about the main point of this video. So I've made videos before, if you check my channel. I've made a couple videos before on the idea of whether Tesla will stop selling cars. I don't think I put a link in the description below, but I did a video several months ago, and it follows on, what I do with that tweet. Wait a second. Let's see, I had other tweets related to this, and I forgot. Okay, here we go. This is going to be messy. I apologize. So, let's see. Okay, so we're going to go hide that one, this one. So, move over here. See if you guys can read this. So, back in July of 2019, a Twitter account named Disruption Research said, do consumers have a limited time left to buy a Tesla car since prices would have to go up several fold to balance supply and demand once you solve FSD? And Elon said yes, and then he said, to be clear, you'll still be able to buy a Tesla, but the clearing price will rise significantly because a fully autonomous car that can function as a robotaxi is several times more valuable than a non-autonomous car. So if you were currently expecting to buy a Tesla for $50,000, several times more valuable is a lot more than $100,000, and it's probably more than $200,000. So the subject of this video is, will Tesla stop selling cars? And I don't necessarily mean they'll completely stop selling cars. I mean they'll mostly stop selling cars, because most people will not be willing to pay over $200,000 for a Tesla Model Y or Model 3. So that's that tweet, and then there was this other tweet where someone suggested that profits would end up going to scalpers. There'll be a multi-year waiting list. The right clearing price will help Tesla accelerate growth and mission by massively expanding capacity. So here's the big deal. The big deal is that there's 2 points here. One, Tesla's mission is to accelerate the transition to sustainable energy. I was gonna wear my "It's Not About You" t-shirt, because a lot of the responses I get to this idea are basically boiled down to, but I want Tesla to sell me a car for the same price. It's very nice that you want Tesla to sell you a car for $50,000, but yeah, I want people to sell me $300,000 objects for $50,000 too, don't we all? But it's not about you. It's about the mission, accelerating the transition to sustainable energy, and to be honest, it's about profit. That making more money and accelerating the transition to sustainable energy go together. That if Tesla keeps the cars for itself and runs them as robotaxis, let me take a step back. If I buy a Tesla and it sits in my garage 22 hours a day and I drive it for 2 hours a day, it has not done much to accelerate the transition to sustainable energy. It has replaced one internal combustion engine vehicle. If Tesla takes the same car, instead of selling it to Warren, Tesla puts the car in its own robotaxi fleet and runs it for 16 hours a day or 18 hours a day, then it replaces 8 or 9 internal combustion engine vehicles. That is accelerating the transition to sustainable energy. Now, the other side of it, if Tesla sells Warren a car for $50,000, Tesla makes $50,000. If Tesla keeps the car and runs it in the robotaxi network for 16 or 18 hours a day, it generates about $50,000 a year in profit for Tesla for 10 years. So should Tesla sell a car to Warren for $50,000, or should Tesla run the car as a robotaxi and make $500,000? Well, I want a car, but I'm a Tesla shareholder, and I want Tesla to make $500,000 on that car and not $50,000 on that car. And then I can buy something else, or I'll just ride in a robotaxi. So, and I want to be clear about this, and I said this, I said this in a recent video. I said this in a recent video that really simple math. Elon said at Autonomy Day, we're going to have a fleet of maybe 10 million robotaxis. And each robotaxi, without going through the specifics, will earn about $30,000 in profit a year. I think he's underselling this both ways. I think the robotaxi, in the early days, later on when there's enough robotaxis, the profits will be less. But in the early days, the robotaxis will probably make $50,000 a year in profit. But let's go with the 30 that Elon said, and let's go with the 10 million in the robotaxi fleet that Elon said. That is $300 billion a year in profit. And with a price earnings ratio of 30, which is low, that's a $9 trillion market cap and $9,000 a share. Now, I think Tesla could be at 10 million robotaxis by 2025 or 26 if they want to. And as you go farther, I do not have COVID. Thank you for asking. Thank you for your concern. Ohayou gozaimasu. As you go farther in, there's potential for Tesla to have 100 million robotaxis by 2030. At that point, that level of supply will reduce the price. So you won't be making $30,000 per robotaxi, but the cost of the robotaxis will be a lot less. This is one of the things I think people don't get, is the 2023 compact that they talked about at Battery Day, that will cost you $25,000 to buy it if they're willing to sell it to you, will cost Tesla $20,000. And that thing's going to be really, really efficient. So it's going to cost Tesla about a nickel a mile to operate that vehicle. Where if you go back to 2019, a Model 3 cost about 20 cents a mile to operate, maybe 18 cents a mile. I think the current generation Model 3 and Model Y, especially the Model Y that's going to be rolling, when they start rolling out of Texas and Berlin, the Model 3s and Ys, they're probably going to be in the ballpark of 10 cents a mile in their cost of operation, including depreciation. So at 10 cents a mile, you're still making great money at $1 a mile. If robotaxis charge $1 a mile and you're only full 60% of the time, so you're making 60 cents a mile on 10 cents a mile cost, you're making 50 cents a mile, you drive 100,000 miles a year, that's $50,000 in profit. That's pretty simple math. With the 2023 robotaxi, you're making an extra nickel of profit, which isn't a lot, but you go from 50 to 55,000. As you drop the price, and there's this critical, I'll say it's an inflection point. I don't know if people are familiar with math. We talk about the exponential S curve. The point when the curve starts to bend back is the inflection point. Well, the point when demand for robotaxi really starts to shoot up, prices coming down, somewhere between 50 and 75 cents a mile. I think it's closer to 75 cents a mile. It's certainly more than 50 cents a mile, I think, but somewhere in there, the cost of riding in a robotaxi becomes less than the cost of owning your own car. And if you think about it, if you ride in robotaxis only and they're convenient, and you never have to get an oil change, and you never have to fill your gas tank, and you never have to shop for insurance, and you never have to change the tires, and you never have to replace the windshield wipers, and you never have to sell a used car, and you never have to talk to a car dealership again, all the hassles that come with owning a car are gone. You never have to scrape ice off your car in a parking lot. You never have to find your car in a parking lot in the rain. All the hassles of owning a car are gone, and a robotaxi is spectacularly convenient, and it saves you money. And you don't have to worry about a garage. What if you live in a city and you have to worry about where you're parking your car? You don't have to worry about that anymore. So many things. You don't have to worry about your car being vandalized. You don't have to worry about any of that because you don't own a car anymore. You just tap a button on your phone. You just go like this and say, give me a ride. And it shows up at your front door and takes you where you want to go. Saves you time, saves you money. So when you get down to 60 cents a mile, let's say, if your robotaxi only costs Tesla a nickel a mile to operate, it's all right. Let's say it's 50 cents a mile or 40 cents a mile after they're running empty some of the time. Well, 35 cents a mile, 100,000 miles, 35 cents a mile profit, 100,000 miles, you're at $35,000 a year in profit. This is where that saving an extra nickel a mile starts to come in. And there's no reason, if you're getting to that point, you're not talking about 10 million vehicles in the fleet anymore. You can have 50 million or 100 million vehicles in the fleet. And let's run that number. Aaron says, what about the federal mileage rate deduction of 56 cents a mile? So my ballpark estimate is at 60 cents a mile for the typical American's cost of owning a car. Tasha Keeney from ARK Invest says 70 cents a mile. And thank you for your support, Aaron. So that's kind of my point. If it's roughly true that the average American and probably the average European and probably the average Japanese and Chinese person, the major countries in the world, the large countries in the world, if the average person is spending in the ballpark of 60 or 70 cents a mile on their car, it's probably more in some places and less than others, especially if they pay for parking in big cities, and some places have more taxes. If you're able to get that price down below 70 cents a mile, 60 cents a mile, somewhere in there, there's this watershed moment where everybody switches, where everybody says, the heck with it, I don't want to own a car anymore. So you get down to this point where the robotaxi is effectively earning 40 cents a mile because it's running empty some of the time, and it costs a nickel a mile over the life of the robotaxi. That's 35 cents a mile in profit times 100,000 miles a year is $35,000 a year in profit. And there could easily be 100 million robotaxis doing that. Tesla would have 100 million robotaxis making $35,000 a year in profit. That's $3.5 trillion a year in profit. Okay, when people call me a Super Bowl, if you follow me on Twitter and if you follow Sawyer Merritt on Twitter, a lot of people think I'm the biggest Tesla bull out here, and this is why. It is not crazy to think that Tesla would have 100 million robotaxis in its fleet making $35,000 a year in profit, generating a $100 trillion market cap and a $100,000 share price. I know it sounds outlandish. I know it's bigger than US GDP. I know there's lots of excuses for it, but the numbers are really straightforward. It's not crazy to have 100 million of them. It's not. And you could cut it down to 50 million and say you've only got a $50,000 share price. And we haven't included Tesla Energy in this conversation. We haven't included other revenue like Dojo as a service. So the big question is, and this is where we're going to start having a conversation. Ben Yaxley, I'm going to answer your question next, and Christian, I'll answer your question next. If I don't get to you, Ben and Christian, please ask the questions again. The question is, why would Tesla not stop selling cars? Why would Tesla keep selling cars when it could make this much money by running robotaxis? So Ben says, what about the cost of production? Ben, it is my thesis that, and Christian's question is, what if other companies decide to create robotaxis as well? So I think I can address both of those with the same explanation. And Jim, thank you for moderating, by the way. I think I can address both of those with the same question, with the same answer. So this is why Elon says that manufacturing is really important. It is probably true. Tesla's going to get FSD first. I'm confident of that. Randy, thank you for your support. We talk about how soon they could do hailing. I believe that they will not do human driver hybrid ride hailing. I believe that they will wait for full autonomy to do it. It is not that long of a wait. The human resources complications of creating a network of drivers who you're going to be firing in 6 months or a year is a big mess. I don't think there's a big advantage to that. I don't think they need it. I don't see the advantage of running. Kathy Wood disagrees with me. Kathy Wood is probably smarter than me, but I disagree with her. So, blitz and kill. If I don't get to your question, ask that again. I will answer that. So the cost of production. So right now, it probably costs Tesla less than $30,000. Let's go to the Berlin and Texas Gigafactories and the Model 3s and Model Ys that will be coming out of those. Those vehicles are probably going to cost less than $30,000 for them to manufacture. Why do I say that? Well, right now they're selling a standard range Model 3 for $36,000 and they're making a profit on it. They have some margin on that. So the manufacturing process in Berlin and Texas is saving a lot of robots. It's saving a lot of other things, and that makes it better. Should have said, by the way, thank you, Randy G, for your support. So I think we're going to see the cost of manufacture of a Model Y and a Model 3 approaching $25,000 when they go to single piece casting front and rear, structural battery pack, a lot of the other improvements they're making in manufacturing. Now, go to 2023. One of the next videos I'm going to make is about the next generation Gigafactory. If you watch the Sandy Munro interview with Elon Musk, 21 minutes in, Elon drops a couple hints that there's a new generation of Gigafactory coming after Berlin and Texas. It's pretty clear about it. It's about a minute and a half long. Elon talks about this. It's going to be whole frame casting, one piece. It's going to have 48 volt wiring. That's going to save weight. It's going to save cost on the wiring, and it's going to be done in a way that enables robots to do the installation, which is less labor. So I would bet you those are two improvements that Elon has already basically said are coming. If you remember Battery Day, nobody saw structural battery pack coming and nobody saw tabless batteries coming. There's going to be 2 or 3 other amazing things coming in that 2023 compact that we don't see. They're going to make manufacturing even cheaper and cheaper. So what's going to happen is that 2023 compact is probably going to cost Tesla less than $20,000 to manufacture. And with that cost of manufacturing being down, if Tesla's cost for the vehicle is $15,000, then its cost over its million-mile life is going to be 1.5 cents a mile. And that combined with other efficiencies means you can operate that thing at 5 cents a mile or less. So somebody asked about towing in a robotaxi world. It's a great question. So, and there's 2 different kinds. I think the question was about towing your boat to the lake. Well, then you summon a robotaxi Cybertruck probably to tow your boat to the lake. And when your boat gets to the lake, the Cybertruck leaves. And when you're ready to leave the lake, you press your magic button and another Cybertruck comes back and tows your boat back home. You don't need to leave the Cybertruck sitting there while you're out on the lake for 6 hours. It's a waste of the Cybertruck's time. We're here to accelerate the transition to sustainable energy. And by the way, hopefully your boat is an electric boat. So, and related to that, I get a lot of questions about that. What about contractors? Right? We all know contractors that have pickup trucks and vans that they drive around. They got all their tools in them. That's a really good question. I've thought about that one a lot. I think there's a really simple answer to it. The contractors are going to stop using trucks and they're going to start using trailers. You know, if you're really rich and really successful contractor, sure, you'll buy a Cybertruck for $300,000 and keep it with you. But more likely, you're going to have a trailer that is towed by a Cybertruck and has its own battery pack in it to support whatever you need batteries for, and it has all your stuff in it. And maybe you have something that's lowered into some tray that's lowered into the bed of the Cybertruck, or the Cybertruck has a winch that it can lift things in and out of the back of the Cybertruck. But more likely, it just tows trailers and takes your trailer where you want to go. And as soon as it drops you and your trailer off, the Cybertruck takes off to do another run for somebody else. So let's see what other questions we've got. What if I need to tow my boat or camper? That's exactly the point. What about construction vehicles? That's exactly what I'm saying. Instead of having a construction vehicle, you have a construction trailer. MK10PW, thank you for your support. Check YouTube channel Thunderfoot. He criticizes Boring Company and SpaceX's cost savings due to reusable rockets, especially before setting up the fund. I've seen Thunderfoot. I think Thunderfoot is full of it. I'm not really worried about that. I think it's nonsense. Burner account, and we're only doing Boring Company in that fund, so I'm not worried about SpaceX. Burner account, how would this affect metro transit authorities? Thank you for your support. And thank you for your support, MK. How would this affect metro transit authorities? So there's two issues there. One is the Robotaxi network in rich world countries with lots of people like me. I'm not riding metro transit authorities anyway. I'm not taking buses. I think there are big cities like New York and Chicago and Boston where people are riding metropolitan transit, and some of those people might switch to robotaxis. However, I think what's really coming is we're going to see robo vans. We're going to see robo minibuses. This is in Elon's master plan part 2. We are going to see a van/bus, might be the same vehicle with different configurations. We're going to see a van or bus with 20 seats. In the rich world, it'll have 30 or 40 seats in poor countries like India and Egypt. And the cost per mile of operating that vehicle will be more than the cost of operating the Robo, the 2023 Compact. It'll be more than probably operating a Model Y or Model 3. So maybe it'll be 20 cents a mile to operate that vehicle. But per passenger mile, that works out to a penny a mile. So you as a passenger are now paying 5 cents a mile for a ride or 10 cents a mile for a ride. And it becomes cost competitive, significantly cost competitive with, like, the New York City subway system is almost $3 for a trip. The Robo minibus will be cheaper. And you're going to see Boring Company tunnels in a lot of cities. They're going to make it so that solves the traffic problem that's generated by all these cars on the road. So, cops will lose their minds. I have a video, Blitz and Kill, I have a video on my channel where I talk about 10 industries. If you search my channel for 10 industries, it's one of my most popular videos. The sound quality and video quality isn't as good as I've gotten to now. But I talk about industries that will be destroyed, and cops are just the beginning of that story. So many industries are going to be destroyed by the shift to robotaxi. People will want a human driver to assist them with luggage and other tourist information. No. A very small number of people. First of all, a very small number of people will want that. Most people won't need that. There will be a few. People with disabilities will want help with their luggage. That is true. And something needs to be done to take care of people with disabilities, but that shouldn't hold everyone else back. But Blitz and Kill says, so what's your timeline? Tesla won't be selling vehicles 5 years from now. Blitz and Kill, my view is as soon as the Robotaxi network is widespread, which I think the Robotaxi network goes live in 2022 somewhere. I think it becomes widespread between 2023 and 2025. As soon as the Robotaxi network is big enough in certain places, then why would Tesla sell cars anywhere else? Why would it sell cars for $50,000 in one place where it can make $500,000 running it in the other place? I just don't think so. What about people who are in wheelchairs? It's an excellent question. I'm sure that the Robotaxi fleet will include vehicles that are explicitly designed to help people with disabilities. I actually think that the Tesla minibus design, I have a video called Cybervan And I don't think I talk about it much, but I believe that Elon's plan for the Cybervan is that it will be able to lower to ground level to make it easier for wheelchairs to come in. Thank you, Vicshaw, for your support. Greatly appreciated. So I definitely think that helping disabled people is an issue, but Uber has the same problem. Everybody has that problem. For robotaxi drop-offs, great question from Skyline 220. For robotaxi drop-offs, how will Tesla robotaxi know where it's safe to park in a place like New York City? Been pondering that question. That is a great question. You know, I have this theory that Uber and Lyft are going to fail. But I also have this theory that Tesla might acquire Lyft. Lyft would be much cheaper than Uber to acquire. That those companies have a little bit of knowledge about that. I think that the answer is that the passenger will know. Well, first of all, the robotaxis will be able to figure out where it's safe to drop people off, but it will drop people off where they want to be dropped off. And they will be safe. It won't drop them off in an unsafe place. I don't think that's a huge challenge. How long do you think we mandate into law full self-driving? How long do we, I think what you mean is how long do we mandate no human drivers? That's probably at least 10 years away. I could see where cities might ban human drivers sooner. Gary Itano, thank you for your support. Tesla rumored to allow Aptera to supercharge. If so, also license FSD to them for robotaxi neural networking. So Gary, I think the problem with licensing FSD is it's not so simple as you just give them some software. They need the hardware suite. And I could definitely see Tesla licensing FSD and robotaxi to other companies. But, you know, imagine you're Ford. Aptera is one thing. It's a small company. Imagine you're Ford and Tesla says, sure, we'll license this to you, but you have to put Tesla inside on every car. You know, Intel inside. You remember Intel inside? Nobody wants to, no car maker wants to put Tesla inside on it. And I don't think that the other car companies will make vehicles efficiently enough. Why do no analysts consider, this is a good question. The analyst question about considering energy business, thank you for Hassan for the question, but that's not a good question for now. Maybe we'll talk about that at the end. I want to stay focused on the robotaxi things. I am not an EGOT and I am not a Doge. If someone needs a vehicle at all times, be ready like a government agency, they would have to pay the $300,000 price. I can definitely see where there would be businesses or wealthy people who would pay to have their own vehicle. I'm not planning on, I'm getting a Cybertruck. I'm not planning on selling it. I'm hoping I get them. I would say this, once Berlin and Austin are up and running and putting out Model Ys, I would say buy one soon. If you don't have a Tesla yet, you want to buy a Berlin or Texas Model Y before the robotaxi network goes live and they stop selling cars. That's my opinion. Let's see. What's this question? You act as if this will be easy. There will be legislation of all kinds to try to derail any of this. Matt, that is a very common point. I don't think you're wrong, but I don't think you're necessarily right. So I would say it this way, Matt. There are places where robotaxi will be adopted quickly, and there are places that will resist robotaxi. So Florida, for example, Florida, if you Google Florida statute self-driving cars, you will probably find this statute. Florida has not only legalized self-driving cars, it has also legalized robotaxi networks, and it took a step further. Florida said local governments cannot regulate or tax self-driving cars or robotaxis. They are legal under state law and they are protected from local governments. This is actually particularly important in the Florida Keys, which was very, very hard on. I'm still not sure they allow Uber and Lyft in the Florida Keys. There are jurisdictions that will be very difficult. So the state of Michigan is likely to resist robotaxi as long as possible. I'm definitely seeing hints that Europe will resist robotaxi, but California and Texas and Florida, which are I think the three biggest states, they will adopt robotaxi quickly. China will adopt robotaxi quickly. There will be places that will resist. They will be slower. But as their residents visit places that have robotaxi networks, they're going to say, why the heck don't we have this here? Same thing with Boring Company. Once people experience that, they're going to want it at home. And governments that are responsive to their citizens will jump on it. So New York State is not responsive to its citizens, and it will resist for a long time because New York State is a state that I fled. Terrible. Good question from Omar. What about O'Reilly Auto Parts and AutoZone and mechanic shops? Are they dead? I think they're mostly dead. I think there will survive on there will be a lot of regular vehicles, gas engine vehicles that will be around for the next 10 to 20 years that will need I think there's probably going to be a thriving industry in keeping old gas cars alive for people who want to have a car until they get banned. So yeah, I think there's some viability, but I don't think they'll be as viable as they are now. Oil change shops are dead. You know, what is it? Jiffy Lube is dead. Because, you know, the number of vehicles that will be around that will need oil changes is going to shrink fast. Tesla FSD is not working on snow. Is that a concern? That's a good question. There's a popular idea that, well, it doesn't work here. It's learning. Okay, it's called AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning. It is learning. It will figure it out. If a human can do it, look, everybody thought they couldn't beat computers couldn't beat humans at chess, and then it did. And then computers couldn't do this, and then they did. And then computers couldn't beat humans at Go, and then it did. Everybody always comes up with something they can't do, and sooner or later they figure it out. Do I think Canada would adopt quickly? So far, I would say no, but I don't think it'll be as late as some of the US states. I think Canada will eventually come along. Do I think a booking feature for people going to work will be useful in the Tesla Robotaxi app to assure the car is ready and you're not waiting? I definitely think some kind of, I mean, that's already in Uber and Lyft. I definitely think there'll be some kind of scheduling thing. Yeah, Albany's pretty corrupt. There's a lot of corrupt governments. I just have personal experience with Albany. I lived in Albany, so. Warren, please read. I am currently working as a construction worker at Giga, Texas. Elon told the public that the property is 2,000 acres. This is false. It is actually 10,000 acres. I don't know the actual size. I definitely heard that they have more land that they haven't disclosed, or I heard that they're close to getting more land that they haven't disclosed. That is not, you're not the only person saying that. Warren, will Dojo eventually operate the Tesla company and Robotaxi? No. Well, I suppose if Dojo becomes self-aware, who knows what it's going to do. But no, I don't think Dojo is designed to operate things. Dojo is designed to train the cars, the software for the cars on how to drive. Don't you think it will always be legal to drive classic ICE cars? I don't know about always. I think that classic ICE cars, internal combustion engine cars will be legal for a while. Elements or Zero says Honda has legalized level 3 FSD. I think that story is massively overblown. This is there's this massive campaign part of the anti-Tesla campaign in the media is to spin any story about anything loosely related to Tesla as competition as a positive story for the competitor, and any negative story they can find is negative about Tesla. Honda has a very limited self-driving feature that can be used in very limited places in very limited parts of Japan. Whoop-de-doo. Have you driven in Tesla with FSD Beta? Yes, I have. Well, it's not with FSD Beta. I've driven enhanced navigate on autopilot. I have not driven FSD Beta yet. Sandy said the road marking needs to be improved. I think Sandy misunderstands Sandy Monroe. I think Sandy misunderstands the goal of FSD. FSD is not really supposed to be dependent on road markings. It's supposed to be determined drivable space. You watch Autonomy Day, and Andre Karpathy had another video where he talked about it. It's looking for drivable space, and it uses road markings to help, but it should be able to drive in all kinds of conditions as long as it can figure out where it's okay to drive, the same way that humans do when we can't see road markings. Will internal combustion engines become inexpensive once EV is more available? No. The problem with internal combustion engine vehicles and their makers is that they're built to deliver at a certain scale. And if they can't produce in the same volumes, then they lose the economies of scale, and the cost of making internal combustion engine vehicles actually increases on a per vehicle basis. Let's see. Will we have LSD5? Maybe we should have LSD5. Is Tesla going to honor the Cybertruck price in FSD? I don't see why they wouldn't honor the price. They said that's the price. You can go to the Tesla webpage right now for Cybertruck and look at it. How important is road infrastructure for FSD? I don't think the FSD will be able to drive on the roads in India. I think there's a lot of places in the world, including parts of the United States, where the road infrastructure is terrible. And humans manage... Here's the simple question. If humans can drive it, why do you think computers can't? FSD is going to have 8 cameras. We only have 2, and they're really close together. The FSD cameras are all around the car. They have 360-degree view. They have radar and sonar. They have better reaction time than we do. They don't get drunk. They don't fall asleep. They don't get distracted by the girl in the bikini. I get distracted by girls in bikinis. Sorry. So that's not an issue. Do you think they will release a specifically designed vehicle for Robotaxi? Yes. That's Donica. I don't know how to pronounce that. Sorry, McKeever. Yes, yes, it's very clear that the 2023 compact is going to be specifically designed for robotaxi use. It may have other uses. It may be good for other things. I think in the long run, we're going to see single passenger, what I call pod car robotaxis that will be even less expensive to make and even easier to make in high volumes, and they will cost even less to ride in. And they will be able to make more of them, so that's valuable. What car do I have? I have a Volkswagen Passat. I am waiting on my Cybertruck. If Tiger Woods was driving a Tesla at the time of his car accident, do you think the media would report that? Absolutely. Well, it wouldn't have had, the accident wouldn't have happened if he'd had self-driving on, right? Due to high levels of demand for FSD Beta, adding download beta button. Yeah, I think that's the, I had this tweet, Jim. That's the tweet I showed earlier in the video, Jim. FSD Beta is coming, expanding, and FSD is coming. I'm guessing third quarter this year, FSD is going to be available to everyone who paid for it. Third quarter 2021, I think. When will Tesla stock go up? Bob Marquez asked this question. I get questions like this a lot. When will Tesla stock go up? Stonks go up, stonks go down, stonks go round and round and round. Short-term stock market prices are impossible to predict. Anybody who tells you they know what the stock is going to do in the next day or two is lying to you and maybe lying to themselves. We cannot predict stock prices in the short term. If you love driving, you'll keep driving, but you better buy a Model 3 or Model Y. You're going to love the Model Y coming out of Berlin in Texas. Buy a Model Y before they stop selling them. What was the question? Darn it. I lost that question. It was a good question. Oh, short-term stock prices. I am not good at predicting short-term stock prices. I don't claim to be good at predicting short-term stock prices. I don't believe other people who claim they can predict short-term stock prices. I don't really worry about short-term stock prices because I'm a long-term investor. The only thing I notice when stock price goes down enough is it's an opportunity to buy if I have extra cash in my account. And my account, the cash in my account, sometimes I just have cash appear in my account for various reasons. And if I have free cash and the stock is down, I might buy. I feel like I already have too much Tesla, so I try not to buy more. But if the price goes down enough, like I just can't help myself, and I bought more around 620 last time. But when is it going to go up? It's going to go up. I think that we're going to be in a. I don't like making short-term stock predictions. I think we're going to be. I don't think there's going to be any massively positive news. Let's see, we're in March now. I think early April, we might have some significant news. It's really hard to know what vehicle deliveries will be for the first quarter. It's certainly going to be a lot higher than first quarter 2020, but it's hard to know how the market is going to spin that. My hunch is that no matter how much they deliver in the first quarter of 2020, the market is going to spin it as bad news. So, you know, when FSD Beta goes into wider distribution, that's a big deal. But really, it's going to be the second quarter is going to be the boom. We're going to see a massive increase in sales in the second quarter of 2021. And that's going to be July, early July. We're going to see those delivery numbers, and that's probably going to be a big part of it. When Giga Texas and Giga Texas and Giga Berlin start spitting out cars, that's going to be a big positive sign. But you know, I can't worry about a short-term stock price because you can't control it and we can't predict it. All I can say is the company is growing fast. And anybody who doesn't see that a company that had 1.5 factories in 2020 is going to have 4 factories going full bore in 2022 and is going to have 4 times the revenue in 2 years, anybody who doesn't see that, I don't get it. Yilmaz, I don't own a Tesla yet. I get this question all the time. My lease was up on my previous vehicle. I needed a new car. The Model 3 was barely out and not available. I didn't have a reservation. It was going to cost me like $60,000 to get a Model 3. I wasn't as much of a Tesla nut in 2018 as I am now. I did want one, but it wasn't accessible. Couldn't afford a Model S or X at that point. So I bought a Volkswagen Passat for $18,000, less than 1/3 of what it would have cost me for a Model 3. It gets 40 miles a gallon on the highway. I don't drive that much. It's not a big deal. I am at the point where I really, 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 really want a Tesla because whenever I go on a longer drive, it's annoying that I have to drive the car. So I will have a Cybertruck in December or January, hopefully. And if I can talk my wife into it, we'll have a Model Y as well. What states will not permit FSD? I predict Michigan, being an ICE company state, will hold out. I think New York will be slow. It's possible the federal government will be difficult. I'm not sure. I don't know if Cathie Wood's price target is going to matter because I think Wall Street ignores her. Somebody mentioned Cathie. Who mentioned Cathie Wood? Garland Garner says, Warren, you might change your mind about robotaxis once you start driving a Tesla. There's nothing like it. So, Garland, I have driven Teslas. I drove a Model 3 Performance and I drove a Model Y long range. I'm actually kind of unusual among the Tesla community. I didn't think it was that special. I thought it was better. I'm not going to say it wasn't better, but I did not find driving a Tesla to be a religious experience. Putting it on autopilot was pretty cool. Okay, and that part I get, and that part I want. And every time I go to a gas station, I'm like, I can't believe I don't have a Tesla. Every time I have to get an oil change, like, oh my God, I can't believe I don't have a Tesla. But I gotta wait. I'm waiting for my Cybertruck. That's the one. I want the Cybertruck. I don't want to buy another vehicle and then buy the Cybertruck 6 months later, and my wife doesn't want a Model Y, and I'm not going to force her to take one. Let's see. Looking for your questions. Why pay upfront for FSD when you can buy subscription for $100 a month? Ben, I don't think we know the price for FSD subscription yet. I'm going to bet you it's not going to be $100 a month. I think there might be a teaser subscription for $99 a month for 3 months to get you hooked. And then when it's over, you got to pay for it in full, or you got to pay some outrageous like $350 a month or something. And you won't be able to go back. How does work go? How's it going on the doggy cyber house? So Jim, thank you for the question about the doggy cyber house. It's not really a cyber house, the doggy quiet house. For those who don't know about this, I'm building a small dog house to go inside my house so that when there's thunder or fireworks, my dog has a place to go that's quiet. I'm really caught up in, I'll talk on this briefly, I'm really caught up in venture capital thing I'm trying to do. I'm trying to start a venture capital fund. I'm not going to describe it in any detail other than it's related to Elon Musk, and there's an email list in the description below. If you want to click on the link and join the email list, you'll find out more information about it. I have made videos about it in the past, but I believe from legal advice I shouldn't go in any depth in talking about it. I am planning on doing next week, I think, my live stream will be about venture capital, but will not be specifically about what I'm doing. It will relate a lot to what I'm doing, and you'll probably get a lot of hints from about what I'm doing, but I'm not going to talk about that exactly. So maybe at the end of this live stream, we can talk about that more. Would Robotaxi make sense for frequent cross-country driving? I think the Robo minibus would make sense for long drives. So, no, okay, so R. Dotton says Warren must not have stamped on the accelerator. So, I'm an old man. I don't care if a car's fast anymore. Doesn't excite me. Does it get me where I want to go? Is it comfortable? I got a big ass. I want my ass to be comfortable. Can I listen to Clubhouse or Amazon Music or something on it? That's all I care about. Good evening, David. If your wife doesn't want a Model Y, maybe consider a new wife. No, I'm sticking with the one I got. Thank you. He's good. What do you do SpaceX videos if no one can invest? Oh, why do you do SpaceX videos if no one can invest in them? So I don't do videos for investing. I make videos about stuff I'm excited about. So I'm excited. Actually, I think people think I'm a Tesla nut. I get accused a lot of being a Tesla fanboy. I'm an Elon Musk fanboy. My favorite, Tesla is my third or fourth favorite company that Elon is doing. SpaceX and Neuralink are way more important in my mind than Tesla and Boring Company. SpaceX is bringing us to space. It's expanding humanity into space, and Neuralink is expanding human consciousness. Tesla and Boring Company get us around the planet. They're good. It's important. They're a big deal compared to just about everything else. They get us around the planet a lot quicker, a lot better, a lot cleaner. There's a lot of advantages, but they don't change the human condition in anywhere near the way that SpaceX and Neuralink will. So I make videos about stuff I'm excited about, and I think people who follow my channel can see the excitement. Now, it's true, when I make some of my videos, I don't get as many views if I do the wrong topic. And I just talked to a young YouTuber about that. I don't really worry about whether this video gets a lot of views or that video gets a lot of views. I make videos I'm excited about. And if you share my excitement, then you like the video. If you don't share my excitement, you don't like the video. And I just make another video. Some of them work and some of them don't. Tell me you be a Monty Python fan. I am absolutely a Monty Python fan. Are you kidding? If you follow me on Twitter, I tweet this bring out your dead gif all the time. Whenever somebody says that Florida is a pit of COVID despair, I put that one out. Have you factored in food delivery via Robotaxi into your model Skyline? I haven't factored it into my model Skyline, but I absolutely think that we're going to see all kinds of uses for Robotaxi. Really interesting question, Skyline, is if you read Kathy Wood's ARK Invest Big Ideas 2021, they talk about drone delivery. So I think there's a really interesting question, which is going to be the most common way to deliver food from a restaurant to homes? Will it be Robotaxi or will it be drones? And the Robotaxi is probably going to be cheaper, but the drone's probably going to be faster. And if you've got fresh food from a restaurant, you probably want it faster. I almost wonder if you have both choices and it's $5 for the drone and $1 for the Robotaxi. Maybe you send your own, maybe if you own your own car that has self-driving, maybe you send it to the restaurant to pick up your food for you. Who knows? Solar roof deal. Still waiting on the solar roof. I haven't checked recently. We just discovered a new leak in our roof. It's getting urgent. We're going to need a new roof soon. Eric Williams says, my wife won't let me invest in your boring brain fund because she doesn't trust New York politicians. Eric, I'm not sure what New York politicians have to do with the fund I'm working on. The fund I'm working on will not be in New York State, and it will not be investing anything. I guess, yeah, I don't think there's anything going on in New York State that's relevant to the fund. Maybe I'm missing something there, Eric. Eric, if there's something there, email me. I'm not sure what you're talking about, why that would matter. How likely is Starlink IPO? This is a good question. Let me just touch on Starlink and Robotaxi with the same thing. I think that we're going to see both Starlink and Robotaxi, the Robotaxi network IPO. I think once the Robotaxi network succeeds, once it becomes successful in most places, once the engineering is done and it works and the self-driving software works, I don't think Elon's going to feel committed to staying involved with the company other than to take his dividends. So I think we're going to see Robotaxi Network spin off in an IPO, probably 2025 or 26, and a big IPO. Too many Phils says, your interview with 2-Bit Da Vinci was way better than Meet Kevin's interview of him. I didn't see the Meet Kevin interview with 2-Bit Da Vinci. I thought my interview with 2-Bit Da Vinci was rough. The end of it was really good. I thought the first part was rough. We just kind of butted heads a lot. Let's see. Bikini Girls and Robotaxi for Warren. I have been thinking when I get my Cybertruck, I'm going to have like hire some local Instagram models to pose on the Cybertruck for the videos, but I'm not sure how my wife's going to take that, so it may not happen. SpaceX fix problems on Earth first. Okay, so Mr. M says SpaceX fix problems on Earth first. Mr. M, is anyone doing more than Elon Musk to fix problems on Earth? No. Bernie Sanders is not fixing problems on Earth. Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, Angela Merkel, whatever, Angela Merkel. No one is doing more than Elon Musk to fix problems on Earth. Let Elon be Elon. He's doing fine. If he wants to go to Mars, let's go to Mars. By the way, people who don't know, the Dear Moon mission, I should have mentioned this in the news. Yusaka Miyazawa has paid SpaceX to do a mission around the moon. And he's invited people to sign up as one of his 8 guests, to basically be auditioned for be one of his 8 guests or apply to be one of his 8 guests. And he's going to pay for the trip. So I did sign up. So if all goes well in 2023, I'll be going around the moon for 7 days. That'll be fun. Warren isn't worried about making money on YouTube. He's already en route to being a Tesla millionaire. I am already a millionaire, and I am worried about making money on YouTube. I think people this is a little detail here. I think people overestimate the value of being a millionaire. If you have $1 million, it's not as much money as you think, because if you're going to live on that and you only take 5% a year, it's going to last you 20 years unless it grows. That's only $50,000 a year. You need a lot more than $1 million to be comfortable, really. Robo girls in bikini taxis. Somebody's I think Nicholas is getting lost there. Lucid is too rich. Whenever you say you feel, I will pay your gas to Arizona. I don't get what you're saying there. Oh, so let's go to Jason. Jason says, will Tesla stop selling cars when? Okay, so my take on it, Jason, I thought I said this earlier in the video. So when the Robotaxi network goes live and becomes widespread, I don't mean everywhere, but most places, when it's covers most US states, when it's available, when it works in China, in the US and China, once it becomes available in the US and China and it's widespread, I think Tesla mostly stops selling cars in the United States and China. Because it doesn't make sense to sell something you made for $50,000 if you can make $500,000 on it. Europe, whenever Europe's ready. If Europe isn't ready, I think Berlin will continue selling cars in Europe until the Robotaxi network goes live in Europe. That's going to be a tricky one. It almost might make sense to send the Berlin cars to the US and China to operate as robotaxis rather than sell them in Europe. That's an interesting question. Tony says, how many robotaxis in the global fleet once combustion engine vehicles are no longer used? Great question, Tony. So if we assume there's 2 billion vehicles in the fleet, which is Elon's estimate, and if we assume that each robotaxi replaces 5 vehicles, that would be 400 million robotaxis. But because they cost less to operate, because the cost of transportation will drop, and because that cost of transportation spurs economic growth, generally, you're improving the efficiency of the simulation, our economies are going to grow. I think it increases the demand for transportation. So I think it might be 500 million robotaxis. So if you get to 500 million robotaxis, let's say as a steady state, probably not going to be a steady state, but let's say that's the rough ballpark number. And each robotaxi lasts 10 years because they're driving 100,000 miles a year, right? So they're not going to last much longer than 10 years. Then you need 50 million new robotaxis a year. So would you ever consider having a debate with Gordon Johnson? I would consider it, Xavier, but my experience with Tesla Q people so far is that the conversations aren't that productive. Gordon Johnson has a particular penchant for just saying like 20 things really fast, and you can't pin him down to anything, and you don't really have a meaningful conversation with Gordon Johnson. I would rather have conversations with people who support Tesla but aren't as bullish as me, or are more bullish than me. People who will support Tesla but don't believe the Robotaxi network is going to be as big as I think, or think that Tesla shouldn't stop selling cars, or think that my battery revenue model is too extreme. Like Rob Maurer. I'm a big fan of Rob Maurer Tesla podcast, Tesla Daily. He disagrees with me on what I think the dollars per kilowatt hour value is of Tesla out in 2030. He thinks the number's a lot lower than I think. I think that'd be a really interesting conversation to have. I don't think Rob wants to have the conversation with me. Is there anything to the Apple and Lucid idea that makes sense? Can that collaboration be successful for FSD? No. My opinion is no. I think that's wishful thinking on the part of Peter Rawlinson, but who knows? Trying to understand the corporate world is very difficult. Curtis Summers, when will we see the 25K compact reveal? I'm guessing 2022. Could be sooner, but I'm guessing. I think they've got to get I think the plan is, if you watch the Sandy Munro interview with Elon, I think the plan is to get the Berlin and Texas factories up and running and cooking. And they're producing Model 3s, they're producing Model Ys, they're producing Cybertrucks, semis being produced wherever semis being produced. If you get that running, then I think that's when the attention, that's when the eye of Mordor shifts. Right? The eye of Mordor right now is on Berlin and Texas, and let's get that going. And it's a little distracted by getting Model S and X refresh out. But once the eye of Mordor shifts to the next thing is going to be the 2023 compact and the next generation Gigafactory that builds it. So I think that's 2022. Let's see. I like SpaceX. When do you think SpaceX will be publicly tradable? I don't think SpaceX ever goes public. I think Starlink will IPO in a couple of years, 2, 3, 4 years. But SpaceX will never IPO until... SpaceX will IPO after there's 1 million people living on Mars. SpaceX is Elon's mission. So I don't think SpaceX itself... I could see maybe there'll be another spin-off of SpaceX besides... I can't think of what that is. But I don't think SpaceX ever IPOs. Ross Gerber doesn't believe... I don't think... It's not that Ross Gerber doesn't believe in robotaxis. He just doesn't believe in it enough. Warren, would you debate Michael Burry? Yes, I'd debate him. The problem with Michael Burry is that Michael Burry put a $100 price target on Tesla without any explanation. So let's see. Well, we have more questions. What is the regulations re robotaxis in Europe as of today? As I understand it, Europe is more resistant to self-driving cars and robotaxi, and it will take longer to get a robotaxi network going there. But the practical reality is once it's working here, Europeans will want it there, and then it's just a question of how responsive European governments are. I think the UK is more likely to adopt robotaxis sooner. I think Ireland probably. I think Scandinavia will adopt robotaxis sooner, but I think France and Italy will probably be slow, like they're slow in everything. Okay, Trent Thomas says, I heard rumors that the 25K car will be road testing soon in China. So this is an important distinction. Thank you for bringing that up, Trent. People use the term, the $25,000 Tesla, they use the Model 2, and I think they misunderstand what's happening. There are rumors that might be true, and they're only rumors, that Tesla is going to make a hatchback version of the Model 3. And maybe that'll cost $25,000 in China. But that's not the vehicle that was hinted at Battery Day. The vehicle that was hinted at Battery Day is going to be a completely new vehicle. It doesn't seem like it'd be that hard to make a hatchback version of the Model 3. So if they did that, they did that. But that's not the same thing as the $25,000 vehicle they were talking about at Battery Day. What is the regular? Let's see. I covered the regulations in Europe. Warren, does Tesla do trade-ins if I want a Tesla? I don't know about trade-ins. Hi from Sweden. Hi, Basic Invest. Really quick, let me just say this again. I want to thank the Vasa Law Firm and all my Patreon supporters. You know, doing these live streams, actually, I make more money on my edited videos. It's not that I make nothing on these videos, but I make more. So if you do a super chat to say thank you for this, that's really helps support the channel. But if you support the channel on Patreon, it's great. If you like this channel a lot, it's a big thing. I really appreciate our Patreon supporters. I don't know if I would destroy Michael Burry. I don't know what Michael Burry says. He just says $100. What's his explanation? Crypto, how does Tesla scale battery storage? It seems like they really need to bring the cost down. They need battery suppliers to give them all the same type of cells. That's a great question, Crypt LOL. So, Tesla is going to massively scale battery production, but the batteries they're making are going to be high nickel cells, which are probably not going to be used in grid storage. What people haven't noticed, if you search for CATL, if you search for CATL and GWH, gigawatt hour, you will see that CATL is massively increasing their battery production. You search for LG Chem and GWH, you will see that LG Chem, these are two of Tesla's three major battery suppliers, they are massively increasing their investment in battery supply. CATL is going to make lithium iron phosphate cells that will supply the battery storage devices, the megapacks in particular. They are scaling. That is coming. That is not going to be an issue. Gigafactory Somerset. My theory is that the next generation Gigafactory will produce 4 million vehicles a year of the 2023 compact, 4 million a year. And there'll be one in China, one in the US, and one somewhere in Europe. I'd like to say the UK. I think it's more likely to be on the continent. Philip Emmanuel, thank you for your support. If cross-sectional area has a massive impact on drag, would Tesla consider a 1+1 design like Arcimoto, but 4 wheels and more safety? Philip, check my channel for Podcar Robotaxi. I think that's the eventual future of the Robotaxi network, but I don't think it's a 1+1 design. I think it's just a one-passenger design. 80% of vehicle trips have one person in the car. So making a vehicle that seats 2 is unnecessary. Make a vehicle that seats 1, you've covered 80% of the market. And then the Model 3s and Model Ys that you've already built can cover the 2 or 3 passenger rides. And then Cybertruck can do towing and, Germany has big plans for autonomous vehicles. They have plans. You got to get through the regulations. Their regulations, anybody has plans, but it's difficult to make it work. Rob Markovich, Warren, I heard a few more whispers about Giga UK recently. Your thoughts? I think the Brexit might make it hard for Giga UK to work. I think the next Gigafactory after Berlin and Texas will be this next generation Gigafactory that produces incredibly high volume. And I'm not sure that the UK is the right place for that. I think maybe it depends on Tesla's experience in Germany. If Elon doesn't like how Germany treats the Berlin Gigafactory, I think the problem with Somerset, really, I don't know where Somerset is. I think something close to London might make sense. Elon likes to locate factories near places that young, bright engineers want to live. So Berlin was chosen for a reason. Austin, Texas was chosen for a reason. Shanghai was chosen for a reason. Shanghai is probably a better place in China than Beijing if you're a young person who wants to do stuff that's fun and innovative. I don't make comments on short-term stock prices other than to say I have no idea. King Kong, good morning. I've heard that China has strong FSD tech and they've been already operating FSD buses. I think that China is one of the most... People are a lot of people on my YouTube comment threads and chats are very negative on China. I think China is very, very innovative. Giga India has the same problem as other places. CD Lionel Trains asked about Giga India. I think Same problems. Does anybody on here think that I'm wrong? That Tesla will continue to sell cars? The theme of the video of this live stream is that I think Tesla is going to stop selling cars because it doesn't make sense to sell cars, because it doesn't accelerate the transition as much, and because it doesn't make as much money. So he's funny because I don't feel like a lot of people are defending the idea that Tesla will continue selling cars. I think they'll continue selling the Roadster. They'll sell S and X to high-end customers. Eugene, you've asked me this before. I don't know if Tesla does trade-ins. I think they do, but I don't know. I would say you're probably going to get a better deal selling the car and getting cash and then buying the Tesla, but that's an opinion. Luca Finale, what do you mean, what about public transportation? I believe that the Tesla minibus that was coming will effectively provide public transportation, but it won't be government owned. Although maybe governments will buy it and run their own public transportation with it. China is leading the world in EVs. It seems China's certainly close to leading the world in EVs if they're not leading it. Matthew Massa, you think I'm correct, but what year? I think that 2023 is the year that Robotaxi starts to break out, and by 2025 they stop selling cars. Oh, Jax Kuhl says, what will the Gigafactories do once they stop selling cars? They'll keep making cars. They're just going to stop selling them. Tesla's going to keep them. Tesla's going to make the cars and keep them in their own Robotaxi network rather than selling them. They'll sell a few cars to people who are willing to pay outrageous prices, but largely they'll just keep them. So Jonica asks, how many Gigafactories Tesla's planning to build? My theory is that the next generation Gigafactory after Texas and Berlin will be a 3 to 4 million vehicle a year factory that produces the 2023 Compact, and there'll be one in China, one in the US, one in Europe, and maybe one more somewhere. And that will produce such a high volume of cars that I don't think there's going to be a need for more than that until maybe we get to single passenger pod car robotaxis. Joseph says, I think Tesla will keep selling cars as long as others make cars. Reason, the goal is not making money, but eradicating ICE cars. Yes, Joseph, I see your point, but the other companies will fall apart because they won't be able to continue making ICE cars profitably. And Tesla will sell cars at the high end. I'm not saying they will completely stop selling cars. They will mostly stop selling cars. Really rich people will be able to buy a Tesla. And the Robotaxi eradicates more cars than making a car to sell to someone who's only going to drive it 2 hours a day. Somerset, home of UK, what? Where did that go? Somerset, home of UK aerospace. Yeah, but is Somerset a fun place to live? Does it have festivals? Does it have a lot of activity? Does it have a lot of population? I mean, my impression is in the UK, London's kind of the it place. I mean, maybe Dublin's probably a fun place. Edinburgh's small, but probably a fun place. What are fun places in England that are big enough to host a gigafactory population of young engineers outside of London? I don't know that there's a place. I don't know that Somerset meets that standard. I would think Dublin maybe would meet that standard. What's the other city in Ireland there's one other fun city, and all of Ireland is fun, let's be honest, but I don't know where Glastonbury is. I'm an American. I barely know anything outside of where I live. I've heard there's a country called Mexico. Philip Emmanuel, hypothetical. Tesla sells shares of the car. You get X hours of use per day. You get paid to clean and charge the car between times when it's working. I don't think that model makes sense. I think the Robotaxi model just makes a lot more sense. There may be other models. It's not crazy. Transit vans. Luke Goodenham, transit vans. Surely they need to keep selling work vans. I can't share my tools. Luke, I talked about this earlier. Luke Goodenham, thank you for being a subscriber, by the way. And thank you, Jim, for your support. Instead of vans, what I see happening is that work vans will become work trailers, and a Cybertruck will tow your trailer where you need to go. And when you're done at the end of the day or the end of the job, you'll summon a Cybertruck that'll tow you the next place. And you'll have a battery pack built in that you need if you need it. New ICE car value to scrap value. Who will buy an ICE car? I actually believe that. I think ICE cars are going to be worthless fast. If you have an ICE car, you're gonna. If you paid $50,000 for a fancy Lexus or BMW, yeah, they're already dropping in value fast. I made a video about that. Do I think Tesla will join eventual EV racing? I could totally see an EV racing series. I'm waiting to see FSD drive the Nürburgring. I think we're going to see Plaid Plus drive the Nürburgring with FSD, or the Roadster drive the Nürburgring with FSD, and it's going to be amazing. Are semis going full robo also? Yes, but not right away. I think they're going to go like sort of robo with 1 human driver and 3 semis following behind in a platoon. Eventually, full self-driving will be so good that ICE cars will no longer be allowed on the road. They won't be autonomous. I think that Northwest Pearl, I think that's a good point. But the way I see that happening is that the human drivers are more dangerous to pedestrians than they are to anything else. So I think cities will start banning internal combustion engine cars. And then if you start getting a boring company system under cities, they might start banning cars on the road, on the surface in general. You go really far in the future and think really far in the future. South America Gigafactory. I think that it's possible that this next generation of Gigafactory I'm talking about would make sense in Brazil. That a Brazil Gigafactory could serve South America, Central America, the Caribbean, maybe Mexico. Is Jessica Kirsch on here? Hi, Jessica. Thank you for joining the channel. Thank you for visiting. Great to see you. I'm a fan. Love the concept of this video. I think, okay, so Eric Knight, this is a great question or a great comment from Eric Knight. Thank you, Eric, for this comment. And Eric is a member of the channel. Thank you for joining the channel. Warren, I love the concept of this video, but I think you overestimate the willingness of people in the US to give up having their own cars, whatever that car might be. So Eric, this is it's not about you problem. I agree that there are people who have that view. However, I think that the vast majority of people, when they think about it, will realize that owning a car is mainly a hassle. There's a lot of hassles with it. And if a sound working robo-taxi network is in place that covers the vast majority of things that you want a car to do for you and saves you money and saves you time and saves you hassle. And I said this earlier in the video, I'm going to say this. You never have to go to a gas station again. You never have to get an oil change again. You never have to change the tires on the car again. You never have to do windshield wipers again. You never have to worry about shopping for insurance. You never have to worry about selling a used car. You never have to worry about going to some car dealership and dealing with some scumbag car dealer. When I bought my wife's car, we later found out the guy who sold her the car was a registered sex offender. I'm just saying, you never know who you're dealing with when you go to a car dealership. I'm not saying all car dealerships are filled with sex offenders. I'm just saying that was kind of an interesting experience. And he was fine, but with us, but glad we didn't bring our kids with us, you know? You never have to scrape ice off the windshield of a car again. You never have to find your car in a parking lot when it's raining. There's so many disadvantages to owning your own car. And it costs more. If it's going to save... stop thinking about yourself and think about the average Joe or Jane who's making $30,000 a year, struggling to get by, and all of a sudden they can save $3,000 a year by not owning a car, and it saves them time. A huge number of people are going to decide they're thrilled to not have to own a car. They don't have to worry about parking, garage, all these... I got all these neighbors that fill their garages with stuff and park in the drive. We have 3-car garages in my neighborhood, and half my neighbors don't park in their garages because they're filled with stuff. So could you rent it for a few days? It would be very expensive to rent for a few days, but I suppose you could. But why would you rent a car for a few days if you could just press a button and the car takes you where you want to go, and then you press a button again when you want to go somewhere else? What's the value of having the car? If you want to have stuff with you, then get a trailer and have it get a robo-taxi that'll tow your trailer. Government regulations will demand people convert to EVs. That's definitely happening in some places. I don't really believe that governments will follow through. I think what matters is that enough EVs are produced. Question from Tony. How do you get the estimate that each robotaxi only replaces 4 combustion engine vehicles? Great question, Tony. I don't think I said 4. I think I said 5. And I think it's probably more like 6, 7, or 8. I use 5 to be conservative. I think it's the number that Elon used. But I agree with you. It's probably more like 5, 6, 7, or 8 that it replaces. I don't think it could be 9. If you figure that the average individual drives their car 2 hours a day, and I think a robotaxi can be effective about 18 hours a day, then maybe it's 9. I don't think it's 10. But I think 5, 6, 7, 8, somewhere in there is about the right number. Eugene, you've asked me that question 10 times. I'm going to put you on timeout. If you want to find out if Tesla does a trade-in, go to a Tesla store and ask them. Where's the hassle of owning a car when you own a Tesla? Maintenance is almost nothing. You have to get windshield wiper blades. You have to replace the tires. You have to park it. You have to clean ice off the windshield if you're somewhere. If it's cold outside, you go out to the car and it's cold. You have to find it in a rainy parking lot. There's still a lot of hassles with owning a car. Lulu, thank you for your support. Tesla is an energy solution company. I like that thinking. I think Tesla's a lot of different companies to a lot of different people. Oh, thank you for the question, Eric, and again for your membership in the channel. Do I think Tesla as a competitor of Amazon who take product from product owner and deliver to consumers? No. I don't see that. I could see Tesla taking on a delivery role, but I don't think they're going to be selling products. I don't think Elon wants to get in that business. And Amazon does it really well. Elon likes to get into businesses that need to be disrupted. Amazon already disrupted that business, and I think they're good. Will Tesla abruptly stop selling cars? I agree with you, Romo. I don't think it'll be abrupt, but I think it will be... I think they will start raising the price really radically. It's not so much that they'll say, we're not selling cars anymore. They're just going to say, okay, that $50,000 car is now $150,000, and now it's $300,000. Yes, I think the car rental... Curtis Summer says, RIP the car rental industry. Yes, I think the car rental industry is already on thin ice because of Uber and Lyft. And this radically reduces the cost of ride sharing and makes rentals even dumber. Alan O'Reilly, you said we already do what? Alan, I don't know what you said. We already do that, Warren. What do we already do? Do I think they will make 2 factories on the continent of Europe? One to serve continental Europe and one in the UK for the left-hand drive markets. Okay, so left-hand drive doesn't matter. In the Robotaxi world, there's no steering wheel. There's no pedals. It's a Robotaxi. If you still want to have a steering wheel and pedals, it's like you have a port on either side and you just switch it to the other side. You can have pedals on both sides of the car and just flick a switch to say which one works. The side of the car doesn't matter anymore. Anyone know what the PE ratio will be in 2 years? Why would the PE ratio be 11? If Tesla's growing at a breakneck pace, then the PE ratio is going to be 30, 40, 50 or more. Nathan, this is a common thing I hear. Nathan Smith says, Robotaxi will be great for cities, not in rural America. Americans love their own cars. So it depends what you mean by rural, Nathan. So obviously in dense cities, then Robotaxi makes a lot more sense. The thinner you get the population, the less Robotaxis make sense. And I think you can see this with Uber already. I live in the suburbs and we have Uber and Lyft out here. But as the cost per mile drops, it becomes more cost effective for Robotaxis to spread to less densely populated areas. And I think you're right if you get out to like ranches in Montana and Texas and places that are really, really sparsely populated. Yeah, non-Robotaxis will hold on for a long time, but you'll be driving beater F-150s, which you're probably already driving. You know, maybe you'll be driving Cybertrucks, but buy your Cybertruck now, because they're going to stop selling it. Great question from Ben Pena, and thank you for being a member of the channel, Ben. What are we going to do with empty malls and empty parking lots? That is a great question. Now You Know did a video on that, and I think that's a huge question. I think I don't know if malls are going to be empty. I'm not sure what you think. I think malls might actually be more full because it's easier to get to the mall. I think the parking lots and parking structures are going to be empty. I think some parking lots are going to become Robotaxi infrastructure. And I think parking structures will probably be torn down and replaced with gardens. I think you're not even thinking, what if we go to tunnels instead of roads on the surface and we replace the roads? You know, maybe we won't need roads anymore. Let's see. Thoughts on Lucid Motors? Watch my channel. I got 5 videos on Lucid Motors already. I'm not high on Lucid. I am the lone person who's critical of Lucid Motors. I'm like the only one. Aaron Ken Jarek. Warren, what about legal Robotaxi prostitution? They had $40 on every ride. Well, I'm not going to get into prostitution, but I think the idea of a variety of business models that are built on Robotaxi is very interesting. Omar from Holmar's catalog said, what if you had a pizza oven and a Cybertruck, and the Cybertruck just drove around making pizzas and delivering it to people's houses? I think there's all kinds of businesses that can be built off the backbone of a Robotaxi network. Could prostitution be one of them? I suppose so. I think I really like the idea. I haven't like, there's an idea I have that has this like gestating. What about a world of nomads? What about a world of, ask Acoustonaut. Warren, will driving become socially unacceptable like drunk driving due to comparative safety with FSD? If so, what year? Thank you for your support, Acoustanaut. Yes, I think, I don't know if it'll become socially unacceptable. I think there will be legal restrictions on it, and yeah, at some point it's possible. I don't know about the socially unacceptable. That seems like a little bit of a stretch. But thank you for your support. I guess I'm not smart enough to know that one. So this idea that I had in a robotaxi world where you have these robo minibuses that are, what if you decided to become a nomad? And just every day you woke up, every day you wake up in a different city, you hop out of a Tesla robo bus that has a sleeper configuration. And it drops you off in San Diego, you party for the day in San Diego. Maybe you go to Starbucks and you work for a few hours with your laptop, and then you go surfing and you go have fun. And then you party until like midnight, and then you hop in a robo bus. You don't even care where it takes you. And then you wake up in the morning, you're in Seattle, and you go have fun in Seattle. And you just spend a year just traveling around the world, traveling around the United States, traveling around the world, riding in robo buses, that it would be cheaper to ride in a robo bus at night than to get a hotel room and to pay rent on an apartment. Could we head to that world? I feel like I've got a video in that somewhere. Oh, let's see. Do I think as FSD becomes more prevalent, there will be moles purposely trying to make FSD fail, especially from the ICE sector, to show the dangers of FSD? Yes. I think that's already happening. I think that will happen. And the advantage is that FSD has 8 cameras and full surround. And if you try to tamper with a self-driving car, you will be caught. And people will be really angry at you. Not just self-driving fans. Like, if you're trying to cause an accident, you're going to jail. And if you don't go to jail, there's people who are going to beat you to death. And you deserve it. So, Captain Petey says, those who clean the robotaxi's auto detail business will grow. I believe that will be part of Tesla's robotaxi infrastructure. I think that's an important point to discuss briefly. We're seeing supercharging stations in a lot of places, and Tesla's building them like a breakneck pace. They just built a new factory to produce superchargers in China that'll produce 10,000 a year. I think they were already producing 10,000 a year, so the supercharger network is going to double in 2021. Everywhere there's a supercharger station, with like multiple chargers, that's a good base for the robotaxi network infrastructure. And maybe there'll be a Tesla employee who walks around when the robotaxis are charging in the middle of the day or at night and make sure they're clean and make sure they're okay. And if there's something wrong, it sends it to a car wash. Dudeness 1001, thank you for your support. What about 65,000 people going to a football game or concert or multiple large events in a city? Huge depletion of the robotaxi. So I think the robo minibus solves part of those problems. I think that's already a problem. Like if you go to a big sporting event, it's a massive traffic jam, right? So I think the big advantage is you won't need the big parking lot anymore because the robotaxis will drop people off front and drive away. And I think you'll probably have more ride sharing for those events, and you'll probably have minibuses doing those events, and the robotaxi network will know the event is coming and will be able to scramble more robotaxis to be in the vicinity to pick people up. And somebody else mentioned scheduling, that you'll schedule your robotaxi ride ahead. I don't think that's going to be a huge problem. I think that's going to work better with robotaxi. Eugene P. I have watched some videos about the pains of owning a Tesla. If you get in an accident, the repairs are terrible. What do you think? I wasn't aware that repairs on regular vehicles were fun. Eugene, I'm not sure what's going on with you. You seem to be like, I don't know if you're Tesla Q or you're Fudster or what's going on. But I don't know why you're coming up with nonsense comments like that. I have owned regular cars. I've been in accidents. It's a real pain in the ass in a regular car when you get in an accident and you have to deal with repairs. What? I just had an oil change. I sat for 3 hours. What are you talking about? You never have to get an oil change in a Tesla. Then you saved on so much maintenance, and you're coming up with some excuse to complain. So I'm going to say this to you, Eugene. I think you're playing games. I think you're trolling the channel, and if I see it again, you're going to be hidden. You're going to be banned from the channel. You have a genuine comment, give me a genuine comment, but I don't want to see nonsense comments like that. Takbir Singh says, I was wondering why you like Tesla. I think other car companies will be able to catch up, and we've seen that Tesla haven't made any profits on their cars only. Oh, look, we've got another Tesla Q on our channel. Takbir Singh is another Tesla Q. You think other car companies will be able to catch up? Other car companies are trying to catch up to the 2018 Tesla Model 3. While Tesla's getting ready to make the 2023 compact that's going to be way better. Like, they're about to start spitting out the 2021 Model Y. That's going to be light years better than the 2018 Model 3. And then they're going to be spitting out the 2023 compact. And around 2025, somebody will make a car that's almost as good as the 2018 Model 3. So thank you for playing, Takbir. Where do ICE companies make their money from selling cars? They lose money selling cars. They make money from repairs on the crappy cars they make. Yeah, we found Gordon Johnson. Thank you. So, Takbir, I am hiding you from the channel. I don't need Tesla Q on my thread. I'm sure the users enjoyed my rant. The regular viewers enjoyed the rant, but that's just nonsense. Would you ever consider shorting an ICE manufacturer if you feel like they're destined for bankruptcy? I sold puts. I bought puts on Uber and Lyft because I think they're in trouble. I think the ICE manufacturers are so bad you can't get a good deal on. I don't short. I think the ICE manufacturers the problem with the ICE manufacturers is the government's going to bail them out. It's not clear how that's going to work out. Do you see a requirement to have identifying lights when a robotaxi is in service? No. It's a car. Adam Sullivan, by my calculations, the energy segment will be larger than FSD and the auto segment combined. I'm working on a video, Adam, about margins generally, including margins in energy. I think the margins in the energy sector are much bigger than I realized. Give you a simple example. Powerwall has 13.5 kilowatt hour pack, and I think the batteries in a Powerwall are going to get down to, let's say, $50, maybe $60 a kilowatt hour. So $60 times 13.5 kilowatt hours is less than $1,000. And the hardware, I think total, a Powerwall is ultimately going to be priced, going to cost to build Tesla around $1,000. And right now they're selling them for $7,500. And if it comes down to $6,000 price, they're making huge margins. So the margins on energy are huge. And I'm going to be putting that in a video probably this week. But I think the margins from Robotaxi, if the Robotaxi network is where the money is. If you followed what I said earlier in this video, 100 million Robotaxis making $30,000 a year in profit is like $3 trillion a year in profit. And that dwarfs everything. Everything. Anthony says, what do I think of Ron Barron's $2,000 PPS by 2030? I don't follow Ron Barron that much. That seems insanely low to me. I agree. Let's see. Rob Markovich, what about those joke articles we saw this week about Ford Mach-E gaining market share from Tesla? Yeah, that's FUD. So if you read that article, there was a headline about how the Mustang Mach-E was taking market share from Tesla, and he's like, okay, they said they're taking EV market share from Tesla, but the EV market grew 40%, and Tesla's share went down from 81% to 69%. Well, if you do a little bit of math, you'll see that 69% of 140 is bigger than 80% of 100. So Tesla grew, and they're trying to make it look like they lost. That's classic FUD. Scared that the media is going... Yes, Xavier Jones, I'm scared that the media is going to magnify anything that goes wrong with the Robotaxi network, making the adoption harder. Xavier, I think you're right. I think that the media is killing people. I think that this anti-Tesla stuff from the media and from ICE and the oil industry, it's actually killing people. Okay, and here's why. To me, the minute FSD is better than the average human driver, and maybe even before, then it should be allowed to drive. If the presence of FSD robotaxis takes the worst drivers off the road first, if you can design your system so that the worst drivers stop driving first. Because if you make robotaxis cheaper, then drunk drivers are more likely to take a robotaxi. Somebody who's going out drinking is more likely to take a robotaxi, and then they're less likely to have an accident. People who have bad credit, people who have bad driving histories pay more to drive. Their insurance costs them more. So I think if you allow robotaxis on the road when it's the 50th percentile driver, the same as an average human driver, you're taking the worst drivers off the road first on average, and you're saving lives. The worst drivers cause the most accidents by far. Like probably the bottom 10% of drivers cause 90% of the accidents. That's a rough ballpark. I'm not sure it's right, but it's close. So But I think Elon recognizes what you said, and he is basically holding FSD until it's 99th percentile or better. And that's when he'll let it go. He's holding it until it's that good. Yeah, Jim, I agree with you. Puts and calls, you avoid margins. Shorting is dangerous. I don't know about Ioniq 5. People have asked me about the Ioniq 5. What is that, Hyundai or something? Insight, thank you for your support. What do I think about improving gross margins given that regulatory credits will probably fade out and they are cutting the prices? When will they be able to recognize FSD revenue? So I think gross margins are getting a lot better. I think regulatory credits might or might not fade out. I don't think we know that they will. I don't think regulatory credits are important. I think you're following Tesla Q if you think regulatory credits are important. I've made all these models about Tesla's success, and I have never once mentioned regulatory credits. They are already recognizing FSD revenue. They're recognizing more over time. I think that's an accounting decision that they make that's not very important. I think revenue recognition is not important. Cash flow is important. Actual revenue is important. Actual business plan is important. How much do we charge a drunk rider for puking in the car? LOL. So that, Kevin, that's that kind of problem that people bring up. It's the same problem that Uber and Lyft face. It's the same problem that mass transit faces. I don't see why that's any different. The next passenger will notice the puke in the car and notify the Robotaxi network, and they'll get another car sent out. Cormac, thank you for your support. Nice to see you on here. The misinformation campaign against Robotaxi's FSD is the same campaign as what they did to GM's EV1. They successfully did and can't let it do it. I think it's too late. I don't think they're going to succeed, Cormac. I think all they're trying to do is delay. You watch there's a Now You Know video about how the oil industry benefits so much by stalling. If they can stall EVs by 6 months, they make like $1 trillion just on that. So they'll spend billions and billions to stall it. Rob Markovich, will all Tesla products eventually use 4680 cells? Elon kind of said yes, but not for a while. I think there's no particular reason. If you have battery lines, like Panasonic has all these battery lines in Nevada making 2170 and 1865 cells. They're still good. They're still productive. They're putting 1865 cells in the Model S and X refresh. So you keep using them. I think probably there's going to be a point where the new 4680 cells are so much better, and CATL's 4680 iron phosphate cells are so much better that it becomes uneconomic to use those lines. But I think that's at least 5 years away, maybe 3 years away. Joseph, please comment on Robotaxi. In 10 years, there will be competition for Robotaxis, almost certain. Wouldn't this make insane pressure on prices, drop price, etc.? So no, I don't think it'll be 10 cents a mile, Joseph, but let me address that. I did talk about this earlier. I think it's going to start around $1.50 a mile, which is significantly undercutting Uber and Lyft and will take a lot of market share from Uber and Lyft. But the size of the market for ride shares generally is still small. There's going to be a moment when the price drops below $1 a mile, it's going to bring in more people. But there's somewhere between 75 cents a mile and 50 cents a mile is where a huge chunk of the population just decides to stop owning cars. And it's going to take a lot of robo-taxis to satisfy that demand. And I don't think we're going to have enough to satisfy that demand in 2030. And yeah, that's what I think about that. I think I pretty much answered that. I think, is there a point in time where robo-taxis get down to 10 cents a mile? I don't think so. I think that the minibus concept, that people who are really looking to save, every nickel, Tesla minibus would save them money. I think that the single passenger pod car robotaxi could really get prices down because the cost of it will be really low. Jim Bates, yeah, I was kind of wondering about the white shirt. I changed the ISO setting on the camera, and after I did it, I realized maybe the white shirt didn't work, but I was already wearing the white shirt and ready to go, and I decided to go ahead with it. So, Jim, I agree with you. The white shirt was not the right choice for this lighting. It's not the lighting, it's the ISO setting on the camera, Jim. So people are talking about gas prices soaring. Gas prices are soaring now. Gas prices will come back down. As EVs expand, EVs are going to put massive pressure on the price of gasoline. Dardos, Warren, are you going to interview Gary Black on your channel? I would love to interview Gary Black on my channel. I don't think he'd be willing to do it, but Dardos, please reach out to him and tell him that Warren would love to interview him. I would love to do it. I think he's a great guy. I disagree with him. I think it's much better to talk to people that you don't agree with. And I think it would be a great conversation, but I don't think he would be willing to do it. But please ask him. I love Gary. I disagree with him, but I love him. It's one of those things in this Tesla YouTube space. I am not afraid to be critical of other YouTubers if they say something I disagree with. And I'm not upset if they criticize me, but I think a lot of people, I guess I would ask you to get into our psyche for a second, get into our heads for a second, okay? So I got like 50,000 subscribers now, and a lot of you say really nice things to me all the time. And you can really get used to, and I'm on Clubhouse, and people are nice to me on Clubhouse. I'm on Twitter, and people are nice to me on Twitter. And if you just don't offend people, you can just have people patting you on the back all day, and that's like a really good feeling. Not to me. I like getting in arguments. So I think that to some extent, if you are a successful Tesla YouTuber, you're successful on Tesla Twitter or whatever social media, it doesn't have to be just Tesla, you start to not like it when people criticize you. And I love Rob Maurer, I love Gali, I love Stephen Mark Ryan. I don't watch Stephen Mark Ryan much anymore. Now I love those guys. I love all of them, but I might disagree with them about something. I might disagree about the way they do things or what they say. And I think if you get enough people patting you on the back and telling you how great you are, and somebody comes along and disagrees with you about something, I think it offends people. And I'm an offensive guy. I rub people the wrong way, and okay, if you can't take it, then that's tough. I think people should embrace it, and I recognize it's been my whole life. This isn't new with YouTube, that I annoy people, and I'm okay with it. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. Okay. Are you going to take a weekend off? I don't think I'm taking I think we're taking a weekend off. Maybe in a couple weeks I might have to miss a day. A good question mark. Question mark. I like that. I think I might be off. I might not do a live stream on Sunday the 21st. We'll see about that. That's not definite yet. Ben Pena, thank you for your support. Really appreciate it. And thank you for the kind words as well. Listen, I really appreciate you guys. The viewers make me happy. The fact that you're here, it helps the channel. It helps me pay the mortgage and all that stuff. It's also a lot of fun. No, there's a lot of... Jim, there's actually a lot of lawyers who don't like to argue. Especially, that's why they become judges. You can't argue with judges in the same way. Yeah, removing in-ground tanks is a huge problem for gas stations. I agree with that. Let's see. I'm just looking for more comments and questions. Do I think Tesla will allow robo fleet owners to buy a level 3 supercharger to allow owners to keep their fleet on the road? So it is an interesting question, Michael. Will there be fleet owners? So I was talking to some guy who I think he said he bought 130 Cybertruck. He paid for 130 Cybertruck reservations because he's planning to have a fleet of Cybertrucks. So it cost him $13,000, right? And as the robotaxis roll out, he just starts putting them in his own robotaxi fleet. I think it'll probably make more sense for Tesla to have its own robotaxi infrastructure and you just use the Tesla robotaxi infrastructure. Would they sell superchargers? That's a really good question. I would think they would. Where do you see the price of Tesla Powerwall in 1 year? I think that Powerwall is going to stay at $7,500 for now until the supply of batteries is enough. I think that vehicle batteries are going to shift to 4680 cells, and the Panasonic cell lines will probably shift to Powerwall first until they come up with enough 4680 cells that are less expensive to replace that. Question, do you still hate Lucid? I don't hate Lucid. I hate the people who lie for Lucid. I hope Lucid succeeds. I wish they'd stop lying. Rob Markovich, any plans to pick up your Cybertruck directly from the Austin factory? That's a pretty good idea. I'm planning to go to Austin sometime in the next few months just to see Giga Austin and then drive down to Boca Chica. I do think that would be fun to pick up Cybertruck at the factory. So yeah, that might happen. That absolutely might happen. Fleet-owned mega charger. Yeah, it would make sense for that. Brian Smith, I've known Warren for at least 10 years. He's an equal operator. I offend a lot of people. Thank you. Brian is my neighbor. Brian is a great guy. He let me drive his Model 3 and his Model Y. He got his Cybertruck order before. I'm jealous because he got his Cybertruck order and before I did. Your Lucid interchange with 2-bit was interesting. Oh, thank you, Trent. What was your question? Did I answer your question? I don't remember your question. But thank you, Trent. I appreciate your support. Texas Robotaxi, just so you know, I went to college at Rice University in Houston, Texas. I've been to Austin before. I think Austin is a wonderful city. I think Texas is there's a lot of people who don't like Texas. One of my daughters doesn't like Texas. I think Texas is a great state. I think people don't understand Texas. If you've been to, you got to go to Texas. If you don't like Texas, you got to go and see it. It's a fantastic state. Tesla stretch limo, I don't think that makes sense. I think the Tesla minibus makes more sense. But I think you could take the Tesla minibus and make it a party bus. You could take the Tesla minibus and make it an RV. Charvel Jackson says, Lucid followers are devoid of independent thought. I feel like that a lot. Yemenate asks a great question. Who do I think will be second to Tesla in the EV industry? Wow. I get asked questions like that a lot. So I don't have a good answer. I think that the Ford Mustang Mach-E is a great car. I think that the Porsche Taycan is a great car. I'm not sure that Ford can make the Mustang Mach-E profitably. I think they lose money on every car. I wouldn't be surprised if it cost them $100,000 to make that $50,000 car. I don't know the number, but I would bet that's the case. Porsche, I don't think will ever be big enough to be number 2 in the EV space. My guess, I would follow Elon on that. Somebody out of China, and probably not NIO. I think NIO's battery swap model is stupid. Jim, you can carry a gun in Florida too. And Texas, I believe, and Florida both do not allow open carry. Maybe Texas does allow open carry in some places. Florida doesn't allow open carry. Sugar Shane, any knowledge of nanosilicon materials in future batteries? Well, I believe that Tesla is doing some kind of silicon in its anodes. I would encourage you, if you're interested in battery technology, The Limiting Factor is the best channel on YouTube for information about battery tech, especially Tesla battery tech. And he just did a video where he's done a series of videos, and he talked about cathodes in his latest video, but he talked about silicon in that video, and he talked about silicon in an earlier video, in the video about anodes. So I would encourage you to check out the Limiting Factor channel. That's my favorite channel on YouTube, by the way. I don't think any of the existing ICE companies will be able to. They're bureaucratically impaired. I don't think they're going to be able to scale to be able to produce quality EVs that people will like and produce them to scale. That's the problem. Johan, I don't think Monroe expects Lucid to give him a car to tear apart. I think he wants that a car company makes a car, somebody else buys him a car and pays him to tear it apart. I actually just got an email from Sandy Monroe. I was really excited about that. Somebody emailed me and a reporter, and we responded, and then that person replied all and added Sandy Monroe to the thread. And Sandy Monroe actually replied. And I asked him for an interview, and I don't think he's going to agree to it. We'll see. I didn't check my email since, so maybe he did. Should I keep my EV stock? I don't know what your EV stock is. Do I think the price of used Tesla vehicles will go up once FSD level 5 are available everywhere? I think if the used Tesla has FSD in it, as in they paid for it and they're selling it used, then yeah. But if I was them, I wouldn't sell it. When is Tesla going to make my self-driving RV boats? Somebody asked earlier about Tesla making boats. I don't know that Elon's motivated to make ships. Maybe that's something Tesla will do down the road. Maybe. I think Hyperloop eliminates a lot of ships. The boring bearing. If we do the boring tunnel down the Bering Strait, it eliminates the need for a lot of shipping. Thoughts on Rivian? People ask me about Rivian a lot. I don't know enough about Rivian. I like the concept. I think Cybertruck might be too close a competitor, but I think the pickup truck market's really big. Cybertruck's also really good off-road. I'm hopeful that Rivian's good. I feel the same way about Rivian now that I felt about Lucid before the September reveal. I hope that they're able to do it. Whether they can scale is a big question. Future for FUV's Deliverator with FSD. Is this how I'm getting my pizza? I think that Tesla robotaxis will deliver food more cost-effectively than FUVs, like Arcimoto. I think that the 2023 Compact will be more efficient for anything like that. I don't think Sandy Monroe would put me over 100,000 subscribers. No, it would get me a lot of views. I don't think it would put me over 100,000. No, it would be a boost. The Meet Kevin interview got me like 2,000 subscribers in like a day. That was when I was interviewed on the Meet Kevin. By the way, if you want to see me on another channel and answer questions, there's a YouTube channel named Meet Kevin, which I really recommend. I think he does a huge volume of content. But he interviewed Sandy Monroe. He interviewed Gali from Hyperchange. He interviewed me. He interviewed apparently 2-Bit Da Vinci. I thought his interview of me was great. I thought I did well, but I thought he asked really good questions. So check out the Meet Kevin interview and support him. I think he's great. I mean, what I've seen of him, he makes so many videos I can't watch that many. Are cargo tunnels a thing? Yes, Boring Company has on the FAQ page cargo tunnels. It's coming. It's like a container. The standard shipping container will barely fit in the tunnel, and the wheels are actually at an angle. So there's some way that they're getting I think there's like a sled that the shipping container sits on, and its wheels are diagonal to make it fit. So I think that's coming. Do I think drone taxis could affect land robotaxi? I think that land robotaxi crushes drone taxi. I think if you mean flying taxis, I think the flying idea is dead. Mach-E made in Mexico, less than $100,000. Brandon, if you have any information on how much it costs them to make the Mach-E, could you please email me or text me or message me on Twitter or something? I have not seen any information about how much it costs them to make the Mach-E. I think it costs them 100 grand, even if they make it in Mexico. That's a great car. I mean, I sat in it. I've seen it drive. It's a great car. And while we're talking, please support this channel on Patreon. Check out the t-shirts. ElonBits.com. We'll pitch my shirts for a second. ElonBits.com. That's where you can get the t-shirts. This is one of the most popular t-shirts, believe it or not. Elon Fan Club. Got some new shirts. I had a really good idea for a shirt. What do you guys think of this idea for a shirt? The next Tesla is Tesla. I don't usually put the Tesla brand name on my shirts. I'm not sure I want to do that. I don't know if people get it. People are always asking me, what's the next Tesla? The next Tesla is Tesla. Tesla's going to easily 20x going down into 2030. Will Tesla vehicles use Starlink? I don't think so. I think it might be possible, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. I think VTOL is dead. People ask about VTOL all the time. I think that Hyperloop destroys the market for VTOL. Yes, you are wrong. What am I wrong about? Wait, I missed it. I'm sure wrong about something. Are they running any training through Dojo yet? And I don't think Dojo is training. They probably have Dojo in like emulation, but I don't think the Dojo is ready yet. Texas Robotaxi, thank you for your support. Do I think Tesla will eventually acquire the Boring Company? No. Elon does not want any of his other companies under public scrutiny of being in public markets. No. I think Boring Company might IPO when it's built out, but I don't think there's any reason for Tesla to acquire it. Fred Jessup, regarding Cybertruck, E4Electric claimed in a recent video that towing range will be 50% of non-towing range. Thoughts? I think that towing range will definitely be lower, but I think if you watch the... if you listen to the Q4 investor call, Jerome Guillen said something about that the Semi is doing a lot better on range than people would expect because they've got some new next level regeneration technology. And I think Cybertruck is going to have some sort of next level regen. And I think they're going to be able to get a lot more out of regen than they were before. And so that's going to help with towing range, but it will definitely be lower. I mean, gas cars have lower towing range than they have regular range. You know, so if you're really planning on towing, then you probably want the tri-motor with the longer range. I also think that at some point, they're going to be able to put more range. Like the single motor is supposed to be 250 plus miles of range. The dual motor is supposed to be 300 plus miles of range. And the tri-motor is supposed to be 5. If you look at, I have a video about Cybertruck batteries. The amount of area under Cybertruck to put batteries is huge. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just offered like a $10,000 extra battery option on the dual motor. I believe FSD does not transfer if you trade it in, but if you sell the vehicle in the used car market, Brandon, then you can sell the FSD along with the car. So just don't trade it in. Use Tesla. Oh, that's good, Digital Foods. Thank you, Digital Foods. Digital Foods, send me an email or direct message me on Twitter, and I will thank you by sending you a t-shirt. I need your address. That is a great idea. Send me that idea, specific idea. Use TSLA instead of Tesla. Oh, Trent Thomas says the same thing. Trent, send me an email that you said that. I'll send you a t-shirt. I'm going to make that t-shirt. I feel like an idiot for not thinking of that. I'm going to do that. You guys both helped me, so that's great. We've reached a local maximum t-shirts. Yes. Here's a good t-shirt quote. I short sold Tesla and now I'm homeless. No, I like it, but that's not a t-shirt. Do I think Volkswagen or Toyota have a chance in the EV market? No. Chance? No. Short seller enrichment commission. That's Elon's line. Turkey Day. Jim didn't make that up. Stainless steel robotaxi best for maintenance reasons. Scratch smooth. Stainless steel. Yeah. Oh, I definitely think that it's possible that the 2023 compact will be made out of stainless steel, like the Cybertruck, or that there'll be a version of it that's made out of stainless steel. If you really want to get into it, let me just propose this idea. Here's the really big idea. Sorry, we're going off on a topic here, but and maybe I said this before in another video, but what if you made a robotaxi and you didn't put windows in it? What if you just made the whole body out of metal and there were no windows? And you put LCD flat panels or curved panels inside the vehicle. And if you want to see outside, you click a button and the LCDs show you as if they were windows. And if you want to play an immersive video game, you play it. I'm talking about like a pod car robotaxi. Like you're sitting in the car, it's a single passenger car, the car's around you like this, and you have a screen in front of you. Maybe it's one screen, maybe it's one screen and two more screens, or maybe it's a curved screen or whatever. And if you want to see outside, you flick a button and the cameras, whatever the cameras are seeing is put on the screen. But if you want to play an immersive video game, if you want to watch a movie, if you want to do a Zoom call, whatever it is you want to do, you're doing that on that screen. If you want to see hyperspace, right? You want to like act like you're flying through hyperspace. You know, if you think about it, if you're riding in one of these things in a boring tunnel, what are the windows doing for you? And the cost of making the vehicle drops if you don't have to put windows in it, and the weight drops if you don't have to put the windows in it. So that might be an innovation in the 2023 compact, is we're not bothering with windows. Just an idea. No, I didn't say the stock symbol, I don't think. Well, then I forgot, Nick. I guess I forgot. I don't remember that. I'm going to write this down. I got to write this down. Next, BSLA is T. I got to write this down. This is going on a shirt. That's going on a shirt. I have described the LCD windows before. I think it's a great. I just think that you know, the question I guess I have. This is something maybe if I can get Sandy Monroe on the channel, or if I got Elon on the channel, how much money would it save if you didn't have to put windows in cars? How much safer would it make the car if you didn't have to put windows in the cars? Yeah, you couldn't. Well, you could put the bikini girls on the LCD, Glenn. Glenn's saying you wouldn't be able to see the bikini girls. You put on the bikini girl channel. You're set. Maybe people will get nauseous through bumps and twisting roads. I think if it bothers you, then you put on the outside view. You're good. You would get car sick with no windows, but if the LCD panels show you the outside as it is, then you don't get car sick. Some people don't get car sick. Virtual bikini girls, yeah. And for women, to be fair, women can have monokini boys. Monokini. Do I think rail lines will be converted to hyperloops? That's a good question. I think that, let me just touch on this, what Eric Williams asked. Eric Williams asked a question that's actually much bigger than I think he realized. He said, do you think rail lines will be converted to hyperloops? Maybe he gets this. So for people who don't know, tractor trailers, regular trucks, not talking about Tesla semi, just semis in general, have been in a long-term competition with rail, with trains, for decades. And the tractor trailers make a little bit of an improvement, and that shifts the market towards tractor trailers. And then the rail finds a little bit of efficiency, and that shifts the market back to rail. Tesla Semi is going to radically alter that market, and it's going to crush rail. And if you combine that with boring company tunnels, taking away passenger train traffic, and maybe having cargo tunnels, then we may see the end of trains. And if we see the end of trains, it's an interesting question. What happens to the train tracks? That's a really good question. I don't know the answer to that question. So Luca, there's a video. Go to Meet Kevin's channel. He interviewed me a few days ago. Great channel. Not everything is about saving money. That's true. But if your goal is to accelerate the transition to sustainable energy, and another goal that we don't talk about a lot is, what about making transportation less expensive for the poor? You know, when you're living in the rich world, and look, you know, I got it easy, right? I'm not saying it's that. I have problems in my life. Everybody has problems in their life, but my life is comparatively easy compared to poor people in India, even rich people in India, probably. There's a lot of people in this world, if they can save a few cents, it's a big deal. So if you can get the cost of robo-taxis down, if you can get the robo minibus and get the cost per mile down and the cost per passenger mile down, you can get the cost of travel down, you are making life better for a lot of people. Philip Battle, the police will complain about it as they do about tinted windows. Where we're going, we don't need police. There's no point in having police on the roads anymore in the robo-taxi world, because what they do is they pull cars over for committing traffic violations because the traffic violations are unsafe, but robo-taxis are inherently safe. We're not going to need traffic stops anymore, and that's going to upend the entire criminal justice system, because it's like half the criminal justice system starts with a traffic stop. Rob Markovich, I've been thinking about making a video about this, Mark. Rob says, given China's huge semi market, do you envision Shanghai expanding or a second China factory for semi? I was thinking about this question, Rob, because I was thinking about this. We know that they're putting 4680 cell lines in Berlin, and we know they're putting them in Texas. And I was wondering, are they going to build 4680 cell lines in China? And the principal reason, the most important use for 4680 high nickel cells is in Tesla Semi. And I wasn't sure how big is the market for Tesla Semi in China? How big is the semi market in general? Of course, China's a poor country and America's a rich country, so our market for semi must be much bigger. Because I'm a stupid American and I think that we know everything and we're the biggest country and greatest country in the world. Well, it turns out that the China semi market is 4 times the size of the US and Canada semi market together. So yeah, I think Tesla's going to build semis in China. Yeah. I think they're going to build a lot of semis in China. I think they're going to wreck that market, and it's going to be, and people think, well, they want to protect their local companies. No, China wants clean air. If you're the richest Chinese bureaucrat in the world, or the richest Chinese politician, or whatever, most successful, whatever, you want to breathe clean air, and Tesla's going to clean your air better than anyone. I don't know about $500,000 share price, CM. I'm not saying no to a $500,000 share price. I just haven't modeled that yet. I'm sorry, 1 second. Yes.
Are you filming?
I'm live streaming. Do you need something?
No, it's fine.
Say hi to everybody.
Oh, hi.
That's my kid. Apparently it's not that important, but if my kid calls, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt the live stream if my kid calls. You never know if it's important. So, Eddie Watson, I finally received my Elon Be Less Wrong shirt after 3 months or right after Christmas. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, that's one of my favorites. That is the most popular shirt on elonbits.com right now, the Elon Be Less Wrong shirt. I'm not sure why. Brian T, obviously you're not a car person, Warren. Brian, I don't know what you mean by that. China has a bigger semi? Does it really? Okay. Turkey Day, most felony arrests, yes, start with a traffic stop. Apparently, the revenue from ticketing interaction with the court systems is hellacious. Yeah, Turkey Day, check out my video, 10 industries that, search my channel for 10 industries. I have a video where I talk about 10 industries that are going to be wrecked by robotaxi and other things. Robotaxi market, the world of full self-driving just destroys the criminal justice system and the personal. I'm a criminal defense and personal injury lawyer, and my world is going to be destroyed. Fortunately, I'm mostly retired. Michael M., what do I think of the cyber car? I'm not sure what you mean. I have a video where I talk about a podcar robotaxi, and I include a cyber version of it. I think it makes sense. I'm just not sure I know enough. Can they expand Shanghai, or would they need a second factory? I believe there was a news item in the last couple days that Tesla had acquired a big piece of land near Shanghai Gigafactory. Warren Redlick, should Tesla make their own chips? No. I think that there are other companies. I think they get their chips from Samsung. I don't think that's a good business to get into. They're not going to revolutionize the chip business, so let the other companies do it. They're not going to get an order of magnitude improvement in making chips. So just let TSMC and Samsung make the chips. Let's see. How susceptible are Teslas to cyber attacks? Could cars be disabled when in a boring tunnel? Wow, people come up with all kinds of crazy things. Well, first of all, if they were susceptible to cyber attacks, I think that boring tunnel is the last place they would be susceptible to it. And no, I don't think they're susceptible to cyber attacks. I think the guy who runs Tesla knows The people who run Tesla are pretty savvy when it comes to computers. I think they can figure that stuff out. I think if Ford or Volkswagen make an EV, I think that might be vulnerable to cyber attack. But I'm pretty sure that the people who run Tesla are much more savvy about hacking. Do I think Cathie Wood and Elon Musk secretly like each other? I think they unsecretly like each other. I'm concerned that big oil will convince our politicians to consider a Tesla monopoly and force Elon to break up the company. What are your thoughts? I think that government is the biggest risk to Tesla. I think Elon is smart and he will break up the company himself before it gets there. I think they will spin off the Robotaxi network as a separate business. I think SpaceX is going to spin off Starlink as a separate business. I wouldn't be surprised to see Tesla China spun off as its own company, Tesla Europe spun off as its own company, Tesla Semi spun off as its own company. I think they can do a lot of things to minimize that risk. Dardos, great question. I get this a lot. Warren, if you think Tesla will be worth $100,000 per share one day, why invest in any other company? Because I could be wrong. I recognize I might be wrong, and it's wise to make plans for the possibility I might be wrong. Thank you, Tyler. Will the Apple car be competitive with Tesla? I don't think fictional cars will be competitive with Tesla, no. And that is not my daughter calling. It's a friend, and I don't need to pick up his call. What is Kimball up to? I'm thinking food on the moon. I think that if you don't know people who don't know, Kimball Musk has a startup called Square Roots where they grow food in containers. And that could very well be a good way to grow food on Mars and on Earth. All right. 2 hours in. Tired. Thank you, Thomas, for ordering the shirt. You go back and just see if there's any other. Will we need to rearrange so that everyone doesn't work at the same time if Robotaxi? Okay, so Casper, if you watch the Autonomy Day video, Elon had a chart. Maybe there's I think if you can find the slide deck for Autonomy Day, there's a slide where where Elon shows the peaks in transportation, and the peaks are not nearly as tall as you think they are. And they're much broader than you think they are. It's not that everyone's traveling in the same half hour. The peaks are broader, like 3 or 4 hours wide, probably 3 hours wide. And the middle between the peaks is actually fairly high. So I don't think the peak problem is as big as people think it is. Oh, Tyler Ward, do you value Tesla based on revenue times a multiple or net profits times a multiple? Yes, I think you can model it both ways, and I like to model these things both ways. I have recently been modeling based on revenue, but the Robotaxi model I did earlier in this video is based on profit. And I'm working on a different video based on margins, which is basically profits. So that video will probably be next week if I can get off my butt and get it done. Dave Elliott, you won't buy a shirt? How about making hats? I am disappointed that the site that used there's this company called Teespring. I think they're changing their name to Spring. They are integrated with YouTube and they do not offer hats. I have asked them to offer hats and they don't. I would really like it if they offer hats because I like wearing hats and I would buy the hats. PW Sparrow, which Cybertruck did you order? Would you upgrade or downgrade it given the choice before final order? So I ordered a dual motor Cybertruck. I don't think I'm the person who's going to need more than 300. It'll probably have more than 300 miles of range. I don't drive that much. The places I go aren't that far. I don't think I'm going to need more than 300 miles of range. If I had a lot of money, like if Tesla, 10Xs before my Cybertruck gets here, then yeah, I'll upgrade to a tri-motor just cause. But I don't think I need the tri-motor. I think the dual motor is going to be plenty for me. I'm not going to be towing large things, so I won't need extra range for the towing. Dardo says, Warren, how about a John Engel round 2 interview? The first one was great. I didn't think that interview was great, and it did not perform well. It didn't get a lot of views. It didn't get a lot of watch time. That video was not a hype. That's why I probably wouldn't interview Gordon Johnson either. David Borg, what do I think margins per vehicle will be in 2030? I am working on a model for that now, and I don't have an answer yet. Should Elon spend more time with his kids? I think his kids should spend more time with him. I think we should stop thinking about it as Elon's job to spend time with his kids. I think his kids travel with him places sometimes, and that's great. I think when you're as rich as he is, you can afford to have your kids come with you. And they're like homeschooled effectively or preschooled or whatever, so that works. Daniel says, great time to take over Governor Cuomo's spot. Am I interested? No, I live in Florida. No thanks. What is my Tesla price prediction on Monday? My short-term Tesla price prediction is that it will fluctuate. The stock price will go up, the stock price will go down, the stock price will go round and round and round. I don't make short-term stock price predictions. I think anybody who makes short-term stock price predictions is either lying to themselves, lying to you, or lying to themselves. I don't think you can make short-term stock price predictions. I don't know why people think they can. Yeah, Paul, I don't need acceleration. I'm fine with 0 to 60 in 8 seconds. I don't care. I'm not in a hurry. Elon said his kids are teenagers and don't want to hang with dad much. Yeah, I have teenagers. Although one just called me. What will I do when I retire? Thomas Stanley, that is a great question. I love that question. I sort of already did retire. I retired at 45. People watch this channel out have probably heard this story, so sorry, but I retired at 45 and I wasn't very good at it. I played golf a few times a week, and I gradually realized that apparently I don't like golf as much as I think because I kept finding other things to do, like starting up or getting much more involved in this YouTube channel, starting up West Boca News. I keep finding things to do. But I have this theory that, and this is a video I'm working on. It's stewing in my head. I haven't fleshed out the video yet. I think we need to be like Elon. Okay, this is an important concept. There may be a t-shirt coming, be like Elon. What did Elon do when he sold PayPal and had $180 million? Did he go sit on a yacht? Did he just go play golf? No, he did something. He decided he wanted to make the world a better place. He wanted to improve humanity. He wanted to build something. He wanted to revolutionize an industry. So I think our job, if you are a Teslanaire, if you are somebody who's made a lot of money, enough that you can retire, enough that you can stop your day job and do something else, yeah, you can go play golf, and there's nothing wrong with it if that's what you decide to do. Yes, you can go sit on the back of a yacht and sip drinks. That's okay. You can do that. But you know what you could do? You could look around your community and say, what could I do that could make this community better? And not just like start a nonprofit, but like what business, because starting a nonprofit doesn't usually scale. What could I do to change something either in my community or in my country or globally? And it could be something small, like my doghouse project. Could I make a doghouse that would make dogs more comfortable when there's thunder and lightning and fireworks out? So that's something I'm working on. Find something that you think, and just look around. Just open your eyes and look around and see if you see something that could be made better. And then take some time, take some money, maybe recruit other people to join you with it, join you in it. Like, I really think housing is a problem that could be solved. That cost of housing is really, really high. And there's something about the way homes are built, and there's something about the way homes are located. There's something in that process that's wrong, and we need to find a way to fix it. I have a video called Tesla Homes. Should Tesla build homes? I think that that's an example of something to be done. So, no, I didn't say to be Elon. I said be like Elon. It's based on an old Michael Jordan commercial for Gatorade. Be like Mike. I'm not going to be dunking basketballs anytime soon, so I can't be. I love Michael Jordan, but I'm not going to be Mike. But I could try to be, and I'm not going to be Elon. I'm not going to start up 4 companies that are going to take us to the moon and Mars and revolutionize EVs. But on a smaller scale, what can you do to radically improve something around you? I mean, I have this crazy idea about delivering Indian food at low cost to people, creating a food truck or a business that makes Indian food with just like, Indian food with sauce on rice, chicken tikka masala on rice for $5 a cup. Could we do that? I think politicians will definitely create a tax on Elon and Tesla, and they'll find a way to tax them, absolutely. Do I think Elon's VTOL will eventually see the light of day? No, I think that Hyperloop will eliminate the need for VTOL. Tesla HVAC would be cool. Do your laundry. Okay, so when is your solar roof expected to be installed? Hopefully by June or July. We discovered a leak in our roof yesterday, so we really need that roof bad. And just to be clear, people who follow this know I'm planning on doing a solar roof, and with 3 power walls. We need a roof. And right now, Tesla can't put a roof on our house because they haven't met the wind standards for Miami-Dade County, which governs our county, even though we're not Miami-Dade County. And I probably need an answer. I need some kind of positive sign from Tesla by the end of the month. And if I don't have that positive sign by the end of the month, at some point we're going to have to... We have a quote for a regular roof. It's not a regular roof, it's a premium roof. That will cost us a little less than the solar roof, but cost us more after tax credits. If we do the regular roof. I'm going to put solar panels and Powerwall in the house after that. I would really like to do Tesla solar roof, but they've got to get the roof certified for wind. But I can't wait through a hurricane season with this roof. Can't do it. YouTube no, so I understand that Indian cuisine is popular around the world, but I think like a $5 cup. Well, pad thai would be interesting too, but that's not my idea. A $5 cup of like tikka masala over basmati rice or something. There's something about if you can get it down to $5 for a meal, that would be special. So that's one of my ideas. Probably never going to happen, but that's an idea. There's this Indian restaurant near me that his sauces are just spectacular. So if I could get him to work with me on it, you know, I could see that being a thing I would do. I'm not sure that's like really saving the world or making the world that much better a place, but it would make me happy. Jim says YouTube earnings are not linear, but look linear. You get special sponsorship deals, etc. when you get big. So Jim, my understanding is because I'm so rough around the edges, I may not be getting sponsorship offers. We'll see. I would love to do a sponsorship offer for a water company. But I reached out to them and nobody got back to me. I don't know how big you have to be to get that. Maybe if I get bigger, I'll get that. So anybody who knows a company that makes bottled water, I drink a lot of bottled water. I love bottled water. You can get somebody to contact me about a sponsorship. I would love to do that because you guys see me drinking water every day, every time. So Avion's getting free advertising. I do Avion because it's flat. If I drink my my fizzy water, then I burp, and I don't like burping on my live stream, so I don't do the fizzy water. What color tile are you going for? Right now, Tesla solar roof is only black tile. I believe they're coming up with a new color tile, but I think we're going to do the black tile. Ramen noodles. I just had ramen. I just had ramen yesterday. Great ramen. Let's see. We need $5 to... Okay. So I have a Zoom meeting at 4 o'clock in an hour, in 50 minutes, and I want to call my daughter back. So I want to thank everybody. I'm going to cut this one shorter than I usually would. Vasa Law Firm is not a sponsor. Vasa Law Firm is a Patreon supporter. That's different. I don't know enough about Webull. I've seen other people using Webull. I suppose I could look at it. If somebody knows Webull and wants to reach out to them and have them contact me, tell me how it works. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I want to. I use Fidelity Investments, and maybe I would do Fidelity. I would have to know more about Webull. I wouldn't just do a sponsor because they're a sponsor. I would do a sponsor if I actually like the product or service. I have not heard of the Kangen water machine. Tesla should bottle water. Yeah. No, look, if I was really motivated, if you look at my YouTube description below, you'll see I don't put like a ton of Amazon links or other links. Maybe I should be doing that. Maybe I'd be making extra money, but I just find that tiresome. I think the YouTube descriptions look stupid when you do that, and I don't want to do it. I make enough money as it is. I don't have to. Jim, if you know anybody at Abstract Ocean, tell them to call me. I have seen Thunderfoot talk about Hyperloop. I don't care what Thunderfoot says. I don't think Thunderfoot's reliable. I'm sorry that somebody thinks it's wrong. They're wrong. Hyperloop is not complicated. It's straightforward. It's just a fast EV on rails, on a maglev. What's the big deal? Why is that hard? I don't make short-term stock price predictions, so don't ask me that. Yeah, Lucid could be a sponsor. That would be fun. Lucid Motors. We make the best PDFs in the industry. And on that note, thank you very much for watching. I will be back next week. I'm not sure about the week after. That may not happen, or I may find a way to do it from a laptop from afar. So thank you, Kevin, for watching. The roof is going to be about $38,000 for my house. I'm not sure why people aren't more bullish on Tesla. But anyway, I need to wrap up because I got to get ready for something I got to check with my daughter. So thanks, everyone, for watching. Have a great day.